Hello, hello, welcome everybody to the grand finals of our very first Final Fantasy IV tournaments, played in the any percent no 64 category. Actually close this. Alright, so a couple of things first. This is the first time we've ever done a tournament like this. The idea came from Catastrophic 4 and he has organized all of it. Alongside the Roth, and it has been a very, very fun tournament. We had a lot of good matches in it, and yeah, let's start off here real quick with the set of rules for the race that is about to happen. Now, the rules are very simple for this category. It basically only has one restriction. The race will be starting from new game to the final hit on Zeromus. Very simple right there, like every good race, start to finish. The only restriction is the 64 floor or stairs glitch is not allowed to be used, meaning you cannot finish the game after you defeated Golbez in the Underworld. That is basically the only restriction. The runners are allowed to use any other glitch to their liking and or sequence break like we will see in the Sealed Cave. Now, about the tournament, it has been fun. Over a month full of races, top runners, 8 people actually raced. Alongside Nurm and No Cash, who are in the finals, we had Catastrophic Rays, the Roth, LCC, Rodon Poison, Asian Blue Suasion, and myself. We did do a double elimination kind of thing with 2 groups at the start, so everybody who lost the race still had a chance in the losers bracket to advance. Now, let's take a look real quick at how these 2 runners got to the finals. Both runners, very strong runners of this category. Let's start with Nurm here. Nurm's way to the finals, as you can see, were yeah, very smoothly. It looks all very smoothly. Round 1 was this Rodon Poison in the race. Rodon Poison messed up the missed clip twice, I think. And that basically already guaranteed victory for Nurm. Rodon Poison's motivation was destroyed, and he got that race in the back after that. Round 2 versus the LCC. I didn't actually watch that race, so I can't really say, but the times, I think LCC messed up the Drain Spear dupe, and that's why he fell behind a lot. And the semifinals Nurm played against me, that was probably the most exciting race I was ever a part of. It was pretty close. We both entered Zeromus at the same time, but I fell short at the end, not being able to finish off Zeromus. And he claimed victory with the 3:13, which is really strong. His personal best is the 3:11:58, which is also the world record. So yeah, oh, no surprises here that he made the finals. Alright, now let's take a look at No Cash, who started at the other side of the bracket. But as well with a sweep, basically 3 victories in a row. Round 1 versus Catastrophic 4. Now there's a reason No Cash has the right message that goes No Cash Party Crash, because he crashed the parties of pretty much all his opponents. Everybody he faced died somewhere horribly, and basically lost the race to that. So yeah, there's that. His PB does not show his skill. Like a 3:15:52, you say 4 minutes behind the world record. Is he really that good? Yes, he is. He just hasn't been able to finish a run on good pace. Something unfortunate happened, so he's definitely better than his PB says. Yeah, against Catastrophic, I think Kata died on Zeromus in the race, and it was pretty close until Zeromus. It's basically the same thing as me against Nurm. Both entered at around the same time, and Kata just fell short at the end. Round 2 versus the Roth, and there you can see that No Cash is nothing to scoff at. He beat the Roth first try. Roth died on Milon, I think, because he tried to do Trash Can. But yeah, that race also had to be rescheduled because Roth, in the first race they rescheduled because Roth console turned itself off, which was pretty funny. But yeah, the second race Roth died to Milon, and well, the race was pretty much done from there. Now, in the semifinals versus Rodon Poison. Rodon Poison actually managed, after the loss against Nurm, to come back from the losers bracket and get to the semifinals. And I think Rodon Poison died somewhere in the end game and did not save anywhere after Dark Elves. So that was pretty much race over right there. So we can expect a very exciting race here. Yeah. Now I'll be restreaming both players. In the Skype call, there will be the Roth, Catastrophic. I think Asian Blue Suasion is there. Who else we got? Feral Pigman is going to join later, and Bick will. All of these guys will commentate for the for the both runners. Both runners will be there themselves. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. And yeah, hopefully you will enjoy. That's all from me. Thank you very much for tuning in already. Let's get over.
It was.
That was some good stuff.
Magus for helping.
I didn't quite expect the statistics. So.
Yeah, that was really nice. Good recap. I was waiting for his introduction, like he said, and it was hype. So nicely done, sir.
Well, are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I guess I'm on C92. I'm probably not, but I guess I can hit ready whenever you are.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do this.
Good luck, guys.
Alright, gentlemen, good luck, Nerm. Good luck, No Cash. Let's see who the king is. Or queen, if you're Nerm.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Take it away.
Yep, thanks, guys. Good luck, No Cash.
Good luck to you, sir. As always. I'll need it, though. Let's do this.
Good luck, guys. Alright. So, welcome, everybody. This is Final Fantasy IV, 90%, no 64, as El Magus explained in the intro. We got about 6-7 minutes here of cutscenes in the beginning, so there's probably some stuff we could knock away. I think commentary is going to flip around a little bit for the entire race. I know the Roth will be here for about an hour or so. We got Kata who's going to jump in and out probably. I think Farrell's going to be joining. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, I'm Big Fong Balls, if you guys didn't know already.
I'm the Roth.
Hey, I'm Catastrophic.
So,
I'm No Cash. If you just didn't recognize, I'm No Cash.
And I'm you.
Okay, so one of the first things you might have actually already heard, I think, No Cash talk about, he was talking about something called Seed 92. That's probably the first thing we want to jump into here, Roth, if you want to take care of that.
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, when you press A on the title screen, the steps that you get encounters on are fixed for the entire game. So the only time where that changes is when you're on the title screen with the Final Fantasy II logo, and when you press A on the title screen, that's when the steps get fixed, when you get encounters. So there's 256 different combinations, and we want to hit a specific one, basically only for the first part of the run, up until you save and reset at Mist. The reason we do that is because it guarantees 0 encounters up until Mist. Which saves a bucket load of time because you like every encounter wastes about 6 seconds, so we just want to avoid that pretty much. And so both runners have gone for that, and yeah, good luck to them. Basically, it's really tight timing.
We'll know as soon as, well, not as soon as they enter the Mist Cave, but as they're walking through it, if they get into any encounters at all, we'll know if they hit it. But even from there, all the encounters on specific steps for specific seeds have been mapped out, so they'll actually be able to tell what seed they actually hit and how far or close they were to it. Hopefully they got pretty close. It also happens to work out that if you did basically get it just like so close but not, it's still pretty valuable, as you may only get 1 encounter, maybe 2. It's still a lot better than the potential 6 I think you can get. I think we've all had at least on one occasion.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every frame you're off by in timing C92 gives you an extra encounter. I think up until like 3 or 4 frames.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting too because different consoles and different carts have their seeds in different places. So when the runners are actually trying to listen for where they're supposed to hit the A button, it's actually going to be different for both of them. And sometimes it's real nice. It might be like directly on a very noticeable music note, and you just have to look for it, hear for it, and hit A. And for some people, not so much. You might have to try to pick a note and then count from there, or just try to, wing it or something. And it's not easy, as it is technically frame perfect.
Yeah. So at the moment, the runners are getting tent. That'll be used to do the miss skip later on, which we'll explain. They'll also be purposely taking a misstep inside Baron. The reason for that is because inside Baron they walk 49 steps, and then Seed 92 actually gives you an encounter on step 50. So to avoid that encounter, they will purposely misstep to increase the step counter inside Baron, and they'll avoid that encounter completely.
Yeah, so right here in the beginning is kind of the bane for a lot of runners here, especially if the beginning of your run just doesn't go the way you want it to, because obviously when you're doing PB attempts, you want to get the best start possible. So if you don't, you end up having to reset, and then you have to really sit through all this intro stuff again and again and again. And
Yeah,
you may have done literally nothing wrong and played for an hour or half hour or something and have to go through this again.
I thoroughly enjoy resetting.
Yeah, it's something you got to do at that top level, so just one of those things.
Especially up until like at least Octomamm probably, because we're all gunning for like a sub 23 Octomamm when we start. Because it basically, if you're saving and resetting at Mist Dragon or saving and resetting at Octomamm, it doesn't really matter what happens before that time when you reset, because then you basically you restart your step counter again from scratch. So you really want to have the best time possible before resetting.
So I guess while we're going through all the cutscenes here, we can talk about some of the typical things throughout the entire run our runners will want to see and won't want to see. Final Fantasy IV is interesting among the RPG speedruns. It's actually, at least in my opinion, pretty easy to pick up. Not a lot going on, not a ton of memorization to do. Obviously, to learn any game takes some work, but and obviously for any game to master, it takes a lot of work as well. But not so bad to pick up. So it really oftentimes comes down to what the game gives you as far as the randomness. We're gonna get into encounters, throughout the game, of course, and one of the things we really hope to not see ever, which is, I don't know if the zero back attack run has ever happened, but back attacks and surprise attacks are basically the bane of every runner here for this game. First and foremost, they waste a ton of time. From there, a party member could get sniped or something like that, and you may not have the means to revive them, or it might just take you time to revive them. So you really just don't want to see that. Funny enough, you also don't want to see a strike first. It was nice in casual play, but in the speed run, it actually takes time as well, because you have to sit and look at the message for like a quick second. So they really don't want to see that at all either. And none of that is under their control. Whether the battle is normal or first strike or surprise or back attack, it's all based on the frame, which cannot be manipulated in a RTA run here. In a task, absolutely, but not so much in this. Alright.
Especially at the start of the game too, that causes a lot of resets.
Yeah. Yeah, like should the unfortunate happen and they don't get C92 and they get a surprise attack right off the bat, that would be unpleasant for anybody.
Instant rage quit. So I think coming up, there's a chance that Niram will grab the carrot inside the Chocobo Forest. Let's see what he does. Kind of intrigued as to what his strats are going to be for the run.
I like Niram's window color swag, though. One thing you might have caught with Niram, maybe not, because he only did it once. He tried to do what we call a plink, It's a fighting game community term, but it works out for menuing in this game as well, to where if he presses left and he wants to basically move the battle speed and the message speed to their fastest settings, when he hits left and another button, usually like Y or something, and the same frame, it'll actually move the cursor over twice, even though he technically did one action. It makes it just a tad faster.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit finicky at times. I'm not.
Yeah.
It can save you like a second everywhere, and then
Hype for me.
So it looks like No Cash probably got seed 92 here, and then Nerm got one encounter, so he's probably just off by a frame or two.
yeah, he'll get seed 93 or 94.
Alright, they're both going to start up the Mist Dragon here. Pretty introductory fight. They're going to set up their first 3 turns here with jumps from Kain and fights from Cecil until that third round where both guys are going to fight. You really are hoping for crits here. Crits really make your life in this fight. It can save a lot of time. Obviously, the more crits you get, the better. You're usually very, very happy with 1, and if you get more than that, it's just even better. I guess, technically, we've seen, what, like 4 or 5 in the same fight? I don't know if that's ever happened more than once. If you're not going to get the crits, though, then you hope for higher damage rolls, like in the 30s for Cecil and 60s for Kain's jumps.
The odd 114 for Kain in a blue moon when he feels like
exactly.
it.
So what they had to do...
Some weird inventory management here. What they basically do is they equip an empty slot to the shield and then unequip that spot back to the same inventory spot that they had, and that's going to cause some weird things later on. So when they save and reset at Mist, you might see them go into their equipment menu and they'll have actually 5 nothings equipped. That's going to come up later on when they then sell things later on.
Good fights from both guys. Looks like Mary might have just jumped slightly ahead here. What you'll notice here is that they will have started to walk left, and then we'll jump into the menu and hop in a tent. And what that's going to do, it's going to shift the map over a little bit and let them walk over that first tile of the town here. They're going to apply that same concept while walking right over to it. And then what they're going to do here is finish out their dupe. They went through the menu quite quickly, but as Ross said, they had 5 nothings equipped, and once they do equip the shield into it and then unequip it, then the item slot's going to have how many technically?
They'll have they had 5 nothings, and when they go to what they're going to do is they're going to sell that empty slot that they've just unequipped. It will come up that they've got 0 shields, but it's actually like 65,536 shields, and they basically set up all their money that they'll need for the rest of the game.
Yeah, there it is.
With that character swapping, because he likes doing that. He likes showing off how many times he can press buttons in a second.
He's known for his mashing, so I guess he likes showing that off as well. Don't ever challenge Nerm to any mashing contests, because he'll probably own you. Yeah, so that
now just to show off.
Yeah, this sets up a lot of the rest of the game here, at least for a while. Like, getting these items, the dancing daggers, makes the early game so much easier than it used to be. Dancing daggers are so OP. Yeah, it's just
so fun story. I once challenged Crack Attack to a magic contest and got destroyed. So
I see.
That's a fun fact. That's pretty crazy. I just was saying for C92, my last 3 runs have not only been like just off, they've been awful, and so for me to hit it in the race is pretty cool. That's why I was like, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, nice work. Nice work. They'll also have picked up in that house the Change Rod and the Tiara, which are also going to help out quite a bit in the early game, either with defense or with magic power. The Change Rod especially is going to be used like pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, the Tiara will help a lot for Octomamm. It at least lets Rydia not die every hit.
Theoretically. You can only do so much.
Yeah. you'll see them do a lot of inventory management in battles. I mean, we have a lot of time to do it, but obviously the idea is that when you do menuing, you want to do it as fast as possible, and just having all the items at the top of your inventory makes it so much quicker to do menuing. It also, in this game, when you're in battles and you do, if you're in a menu for too long, like so, let me rephrase that. So if an enemy is attacking, you go into your menu, you can do things. The ATB is actually paused, but if you menu too slowly and the enemy finishes his attack animation, you actually lose ATB. So having the items at the top of your inventory not only is faster, but it's also better for battles, because then your enemies will not get as many animations during boss fights. So you'll probably see that for Octomamm, that if they're too slow in fights, then Octomamm will attack more.
Yeah, inventory management is definitely one of the signs of that can separate like good runners from great runners. Inventory is not something that should be probably picked up by the the beginners, but at the same time is really, really important and really saves you time all throughout the run. So you'll be able to see who really is on top of things by how well they manage their stuff, and even just when they move their stuff in the slightest, maybe just one slot or two slots down, it's still a much bigger deal than most people think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not critical to learn the run like inventory management, but it does certainly help. And FF4 is a really good run to learn. All the splits are slightly different from each other, and they're close enough as well.
Yeah, we definitely hope that you enjoy the showcase these two runners put on. They are two of the best that we have to offer, and the community is always hopeful and helpful for people who want to join and take on this madness.
Nice one. So you actually, in this fight also comes up something that'll be used a lot during the run. What the runners do there is, as soon as Cecil gets his turn, you'll attempt to run, and you'll see a little can't run message appear. When that message is on the screen, your ATB is paused. So then you can attack your enemy and conserve your ATB. If you just hold A, that ATB is still running, so it's actually faster to attempt, like just waste that minute kind of split second to run. We call it a run buffer or a can't run buffer. But in that fight, usually the guards will attack regardless of what you do. But if you run buffer, you can actually kill all the guards and have the officer retreat without the guards attacking at all.
The run buffer actually helped quite a bit. Its foremost use is in Fabule later on, which used to be the most dangerous part of the run and was a run killer for very many people all the time. I know personally before it came out, Fabule was just the most dreaded split. Like, I just never wanted to do it. You just had to cross your fingers and hope to God it worked out. But the ability to pause that ATB real quick and put in some inputs has actually been very, very beneficial for a lot of different fights.
Yeah, and you can be surprised how many inputs you can actually do. Like, you can actually go into your menu and throw a dancing dagger in the time that the run buffer message appears.
Alright, so first thing we got to see here is if anyone gets their palette swaps. We got Blue Ridia. I like it.
Nice.
If you talk to Tella here and change your character at the same time, you can see the little palette swap for people, as it doesn't quite finish switching characters. It's
Cash got the enemy encounter swap thing happening.
Yep.
So clearly this is the run for Nurm. He got the palette swap, so we'll see if that luck lasts longer than 10 seconds or so. We could actually see a fairly substantial lead change happen here based upon how lucky or unlucky both these runners are. There are a couple of different nastier back attacks that can happen here, including ones with the tiny mages because they cast spells and that just takes longer. Or you could just get one with a bunch of enemies. And I think later on they can run into Crocs as well, who can get 2 attacks, which takes forever as well.
The Crocs are horrible, especially because you usually get them on the screen with Octomamm. And it's the last thing you want to see. You just want to get to Octomamm and start the fight. Instead, you have to wait like another 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And that 20 seconds usually involves you seriously considering rage quitting.
We'll see if any of the runners feel like saving and resetting here. I feel like their walks were not particularly terrible or good, but we'll see what they try to risk here. Should they actually attempt to reset, save and reset somewhere, they will change their seed, which will change what steps they get their encounters on. Sometimes it's beneficial, for sure, almost. Sometimes you roll on the dice. But some seeds are...
It does waste 6 seconds, but so they'll, if anything, they'll probably save and reset on the tile where the damn sign cutscene is. Because then you skip the damn sign cutscene completely. It's done in a similar way to how they skip Mist, which we actually didn't really did we speak about it? Oh yeah, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yep. So they
For
do
whatever,
it in a similar way.
You can apply that kind of half-step menu interrupt and shifting the world real quick in a couple of different areas, so you can actually skip the trigger for Dampian as well by saving and resetting on that spot. When you come back, you can just walk past it. For all you completionists out there, we'll be grabbing one treasure chest here, okay? So you don't have to yell at us for skipping everything. Okay, we do want to pick up the Darkness Sword here before we leave the cave to do some extra damage here with Cecil, because his damage counts for quite a bit in the first hour or so.
Yeah, it helps that Octomamm is weak to Dark Elemental, so that sword really does a lot of help in that battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no. Near with the zombies! Rawr.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Yeah, so as you can see, that's gonna hurt Nurm pretty bad, and he's not substantially behind. It's not like he can't make it back, but you can tell like there's a bit of a lead here now, and that could be kept unless no cash is also unlucky.
they'll have their it'll ebb and flow. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the lead change multiple times, especially during the first half of the race.
Yeah, exactly. These guys are both so good, and they're going to execute perfectly for, pretty much all the time. So the only thing that's really going to set these two guys apart for a good while is if Nurm keeps getting his back attacks, basically.
Oh, no. Another one, wow.
Yeah. And this is what I mean. Nurm has done nothing wrong here, but he is a bit behind now just because that's what the game gave him. So we're going to look at the Octomamm fight here, see what happens. The ultimate goal here is for Rydia to not really get hit, or if she does, to get hit for 1. Unfortunately, the damage range is from 1 to like 18 or something like that, so she can still get sniped even with the defense of the tiara. The next thing that's going to change the pace of this fight are some of the damage rolls. The Dancing Dagger is strong. Rydia can throw it for 100, or she throw it for nearly 250. That actually makes a big difference as well.
Miriam's Rydia's already down to 14, so safety cure. Normally in a run we would just go for it, and then if Rydia dies we'd probably reset depending on how we feel. But since it's a race, you just want to get through the fight. Especially you don't want Rydia to die during Octomamm or Outline, I guess, because it makes Mum Bomb less safe. Because Rydia will have a chance of dying against the explosion. You can actually die in that fight if that happens.
You probably also noticed that the runners cast, or at least no cast stop on Tella. Essentially, his damage is not all that beneficial. It takes a while for the lit cast to go, and then his damage is kind of poopy. So it's often better to just cast stop on him so you can skip his turns and kind of get through your turns and Octomamm's turns faster.
Damage rate slightly higher.
The main risk
Cecil
is if,
crit?
nice. You do have kind of a risk if Rydia dies and Waltella's stopped, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But at the end of the day, if Rydia dies, your run is kind of screwed anyway. So certainly in PB attempts, it's just you roll the dice and see what happens. You wouldn't be very safe about it. But obviously, since this is a race, they'll have to try to deal with it as best as they can. And you're seeing Nurm here really take advantage of inventory management, as throughout all of this dialogue, he's not losing anything. And he has all the time in the world to move some stuff around.
Let's also move the trash can up. Wink, wink. That'll come in handy later on.
Nurm also picked up the carrot as well, so he's got the carrot and the trash can up high on his inventory, and you'll see, 30, 40 minutes what he's going to do with it. Yeah, it looks like No Cash is elected to just walk on through, so he got the cutscene.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping I had a decent walk. Hopefully kill some encounters in Fabule and take my chances.
Yeah, exactly. There's no, like, real precise control over what can happen with encounters here. So whether you skip the clip and reset or you don't, who knows what'll happen. It looks like both men will not be skipping. Let's see what we have with the Spoony Bard here. How many hits out of 4 is Tella gonna get for both runners? Let's find out.
This is one of the most important parts of the game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right up there with palette swapping. Sometimes speedrunners are a bit of a superstitious lot. We really just want to see certain things happen, or else the run is either cursed or blessed. What was that for Teller? Like 3?
Spoony Bard. It was either 2 or 3. I missed the first one in No Cash's fight.
I
think you got 3.
I missed it too, sorry.
I'm gonna go with 3 because no one's gonna be able to argue against me.
I think he got 3. I think he got 3 and missed the last one.
That's funny.
So it was near.
But
near
I
1-0
didn't
was
watch
the second
Nerds.
one. You missed the first one. I think the second one was missed as well, and the third.
I do want to mention that I think it's pretty cool. A lot of the Final Fantasy IV community showed up in chat and is all here. So shoutouts to everybody that's tuning in and following. We appreciate you guys tuning in for this awesome race and being a part of the community. So I recognize pretty much almost all the names. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys. Get the word out as well. There's 2.5 hours at least of this race, so the more people watching it, the merrier. This is also we've got 2 out of the 4 runners for RPG Limit Break. Our 4-way race will be on the 16th of May. So No Cash and Niram are both in that. So it's pretty much a highlight of what's going to happen in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, it's coming up real fast. We have Nurm and No Cash, as mentioned before, and we also have Kobahi and Roth, who's commentating here for you. So if you like what you're seeing here, you're seeing here, then it's going to be twice as good in a little bit. So look forward to that.
Aren't you running
And
too, Dick? Aren't you running something?
It's not about me, man. It's not about me. But yes.
Got FF6, don't you?
Yeah.
It's
There will
gonna
be a lot
I
of
can't
great
wait.
runs at RPG
Yeah.
Limit Break, actually. We may as well talk about it now since it's been brought up. If you haven't heard
Absolutely.
about it, which would be weird since you're at the channel. But anyway, you can spread the word here, and it's starting in just a little bit. We got a nice RPG marathon coming up, raising money for Nami, and schedules and links and stuff are there. So go ahead and check that out, as there's a lot of people in this chat who are also going to have some runs on that marathon. And it looks like No Cash here got creamed in the back, so it's going to allow Nurm to make up some time here, just a little bit. I didn't look at Rydia's health, but that's one of the dangers of back attacks here in this cave. Is if Rydia dies, You don't really have a great way to bring her back. You can grab a chest if you want to be extra safe about it, but for the most part, you just gotta hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
If she does
if you
happen to
get back
die,
attacked by-
yeah, go ahead.
If you get back attacked by like turtles and things, they can one-shot Rydia and do a lot of damage to Edward as well. Turn Antlion south very quickly, but luckily it doesn't happen very often at all.
Yeah. Okay, the Antlion fight is ridiculously simple. You get a dancing dagger on Edward and you throw it, and you'll throw Rydia's as well. You can basically get him in 3. That's the ideal, as he has 1,000 health. Worst case is you have to throw it a 4th time. But ultimately, there's just not really much to talk about it. The biggest danger about this segment, if you will, is Rydia dying in a back attack. But other than that, it's just not a big deal. It's a free fight. If your time happens to fluctuate in between Octomamm and Antlion, it's probably because of encounters, not because of the fight.
Yeah. Both runners having roughly, I think both are just under sub 29. Nira may have just had a 29 minute. With a few surprise attacks, it's bearable. It's decent. I mean, you can get anywhere between 29 and like if you have ridiculous luck, you can get a sub 28, but that's very rare. Usually we get like a 28-30 kind of thing for Antlion.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, probably what we're looking for, and just trying to be objective about it is a 28.5. Can live with that.
I mean, at 29 you usually go, yeah, let's just continue for another split and we'll see how Mum Bomb goes, and then we'll get to Mum Bomb and we'll be like, yeah, we'll just get to Fabule and do the fights, and then all of a sudden you finish the game.
Yeah. And maybe you will award PB'd at the very least with some of the worst times in your early game.
Yes.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's happened.
Might say. Multiple times.
Oh, so no cash here with another back attack. I mean, if you're gonna get one, that's the best one you can get. It's only 2 enemies, but...
Yeah. And a surprise attack too, so Cecil takes all the damage.
Yeah, so Nerve is just barely behind now. He was a decent bit behind, but now he's pretty much right there with him. That's all it took, is just the 2 back attacks on the other end.
Now it's like Mario Kart with hovercrafts. Look at him. Look at him go.
Super Mario Hovercraft.
No drifting, though. I am disappointed. This part also got trivialized quite a bit with the Dancing Dagger. They're going to enter some cutscenes, and you're probably familiar with the fact that they are going to fight the Water Hag, which is a scripted battle. The goal is just to hit the Water Hag 3 times, and then the battle ends. But if you don't hit him, let's say if you miss, then you can run into some trouble. That's really just not an issue with the Dancing Dagger at all.
Yeah. I think if you miss twice, then the Water Hag has a chance of killing you. It's either twice or 3 times, but having Edward in the middle with Dancing Dagger, I'm not sure if the accuracy is 100%, but I've never seen Edward miss from the middle. I have seen him miss with Dancing Dagger at the top, but certainly if you don't have the Dancing Dagger, then you're basically praying that you win.
It's kind of funny when you learn of the programming of this fight. Is the Water Hag has something like 65,000 hit points or something, and is categorized as a boss.
Yeah, I think the Water Hag has more HP than the final boss does.
I think Kain in Fabule has like 40,000 hit points or something crazy as well.
One of the things you can do in battle in general, and what both runners are going to do here, is you can actually just sit and hold A. You don't have to mash, and when you hold A, it actually will still put in your inputs, and it will actually be a tad faster than your mashing probably. So, while you can't walk away from the console, but you don't have to really pay too much attention here. It's a slight break.
Kieran decides to hold A, L, and R down.
It's cool. Nerm's gonna go for some swag wherever he gets the opportunity. I like it. I like it.
Hey, if you saw your zombie girlfriend show up, I'd run.
I guess that's fair. To each their own, though. There might be someone here that feels differently. I don't know. No judgment from me. Nerm will judge you clearly, but you live your life however you want. It's fine. One of the little things that can happen here is NPCs getting in your way. It pretty much shouldn't. The players should be basically doing the save movements every time, so the NPCs should also do the save movements, and it's not a big deal, but if you happen to just mess up oddly somewhere, it's actually a thing. You also noticed that they exited the town on the left tile there before they left, and that will actually put them on the side of the town instead of below it. They can just hop on the Evercraft a little bit more quickly. It's all the weird small optimizations that add up over time, and that's just happens to be one of them.
I can't wait to hear you guys talk about how trolly Yang can be. He's my worst enemy frequently.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts in this game where your skill is put to the test, and if you're not on it, you're either dead or you're going to lose a lot of time. But there's also just a lot of parts that are just completely out of your control. You just gotta roll with it and see what happens. And it's one of those instances is coming up here with Yang as we enter the cutscene. But we'll get there when we get there. The goal here is to not have any encounters, but we'll see what happens.
This walk can be really dangerous too because I don't think you have any way to resurrect your characters yet. So if Edward or Rydia die, then it makes Mumbomb extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they run a safety save before this fight. So
I don't think they did. I don't think either of them grabbed the life either. So the odds of something happening are not super ridiculously high, but it can happen. Looks like we're just gonna go for it. We got no cash here entering the Yang fight. And you'll see what kind of magic comes up here.
I'll certainly be healing Edward or Rydia if Mumbomb attacks them before they explode. Oh, Yang's got his black belt.
Ooh, dang. Nerm, not so much. Oh my god, that was the best Yang fight I've ever seen. The goal here is to finish the fight in 3 turns. It happened beautifully for no cash. There was pretty much no risk of it taking more than 3 turns. Yang is basically going to alternate kicks with hitting one.
Oh yeah.
And he can do low damage with his kicks. He can straight miss when he attacks. And we've seen this fight go 5 or 6 turns before, and it can crush your spirit. Again, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Guess who just got 5?
I see.
So with Mumbomb, you have to do 800 damage, I believe it is, to make Mumbomb explode, and then he'll explode into 3 red bombs and 3 blue ones. So depending on how you want to do this fight, there's 2 different ways. You can do 800 damage and then parry to Yang, and then line up a kick before Mumbomb actually explodes, and that way Rosa becomes useful with being able to target a red bomb and kill it. That way only one of the bombs will attack. Alternatively, you can parry to Rydia or Edward and basically just go ham on the blue bombs as soon as they explode. Edward's dead for no cash, but it's okay for Mumbomb, but it makes Babil a lot riskier, so the safety save will become quite vital for no cash.
Well, he made it through. Yeah, hopefully be okay. This fight can also, despite its simplicity, can go a lot of different ways. If you don't do 800 damage in one go, it can take you a little longer, especially if Mumbomb hits either Edward or Rydia, then you gotta take time to heal. And then the bombs can go any which way if you don't kill the oranges in one go or something like that, or if they just happen to bop Edward or Rydia, then that fight can go south very, very fast, even though it's usually, like, pretty simple. But one trend you'll see in this game is when it rains, it pours, usually. So once things start going south, then it just keeps on going, and you start to just cry just a little bit more each time.
You really have to be vigilant. You have to be as patient as possible.
Yeah.
Just focus on executing in this game and just let the luck roll. Because otherwise, it can slowly eat into your time, like Vic said.
Yeah. This is also one of the more brutal walks as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they'll definitely be safety saving before Fabule.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not as bad of a segment as it used to be, but it still can be. The walk takes a while. You can get into a lot of encounters. You can get into a lot of encounters with 6 enemies. So obviously, back attacks in that regard are pretty brutal. And then Fabule itself is quite dangerous, especially with the Deadward here. It'll just be a little bit easier to snipe for no cash than for Nerm.
Yeah. Sub-hype.
Looks like no cash is smartly safety saving. Good move. It looks like he has a solid lead on Nerm again here. Although Nerm just had a pretty good walk. One of the neat things here about the dialogue is you can actually press anything to advance the text. All the 4 face buttons and the D-pad and everything, including the B button. And so if you're not careful and you're mashing the B button, you'll actually say no, you won't help the King of Fabule, and then you'll leave the room and you'll have to walk back in and go through all the dialogue again. So that will eat up some time. I don't know what kind of person would actually do that, but something to look out for.
Absolutely. So we'll see how Fabule goes for no cash. You'll see him run buffer. Good thing about Yang having being in the bottom is that he'll actually attack first in these fights. Apart from the first battle, because Yang isn't leveled up yet, I should say. But it makes Fabule just that little bit quicker if Yang can one-shot the guards.
Alright, so first fights seem to be going well. As Roth mentioned before, once you run and that message that you can't run pops up, you actually can still put in inputs while the ATP is paused, so they'll be able to get that dancing dagger off and kill one guard before they get to go. And you have to get all of those inputs in before the message disappears, which for newer runners seems to be like the scariest thing. But actually with a little bit of practice, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's one of those things that seems like it's impossible, because you're essentially hitting L and R and putting in like 9 inputs in like a second, but it's actually not too bad if you practice it for 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. I remember thinking, because the first people to really get it down were Nerm and Roth and No Cash and whatnot, and it's just like, well, I mean, they're good at the game, so that's why they're getting it. But, I mean, I can get it all the time, and Kata and everybody else who's actually tried to learn it, so... and it's
shoutouts to
ever so useful.
Mention that, by the way. Like we were having a chat in chat.
Wow,
that makes really good sense. And Puexel mentioned that the Japanese runners use run buffers, so we started exploring it and found all these spots that it could be used, and it's saved a substantial amount of time in our runs now due to just run buffering almost everywhere. I mean, not only is it faster, but it's also safer without losing time. So, for example, you can run buffer at the start of every boss fight and have Paladin Cecil cover someone, and that just makes it just that little bit extra safety in mind. So you don't have to do extra healing after the fight or healing inside the fight as well. Just makes it that little bit better. Edward's hiding for no cash. Ouch.
Yeah, so No Cash got a lot lucky.
The worst thing that can happen in this is for Edward to get sniped at the very first battle, so at least he was able to get through most of the fights.
Yeah, I got through half. Unfortunately, he got one hit and it put him down. He had that 90 health we talked about, and he got hit for 78. So bummer.
Yeah, but it looks like you'll be fine. You'll make it all the way through. Seems like you have a decent amount of health here. Hopefully. Cross my fingers for you.
Hopefully you can get attacks in before the guards attack.
We've all been there where Edward gets owned on the very first battle. And you can have a real bad time. So this will let Nurm catch up a tad as well, as long as he also has a clean fight.
Ooh, 75.
Well,
And
I don't know if he
why
meant
we
to do it or
saved.
not. Yeah. Ooh. I don't know if Nurm meant to do that, but he targeted the general and killed him, thankfully, which is also actually good, because the guards don't actually go, so that's actually ideal. But if you don't kill him, then, man, you're just in for a world of hurt. Some extra experience, though. Hype. Alright, the next part is also kind of a scripted cutscene. Cecil just needs to get owned by Kain, and you just have to hope it happens as fast as possible. You really hope Kain puts Cecil in critical, like for No Cash here, right in his first jump, because he'll jump right away and end the cutscene, and you don't get the perished message. If he doesn't do it, like with Nurm, then you can target yourself and hope that that doesn't happen, and put yourself in critical so that the scene still goes by fairly quickly, but looks like Nurm here is not so lucky.
It's another cringeworthy moment as well. Just watching Kain and Cecil not being able to beat Cecil up enough is just, yeah, very very cringeworthy. But
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. Again, you just have to go through the motions, just accept it and move on. There's certainly more important parts of the run that can be more devastating, especially execution-wise. So a little damage roll here and there isn't the end of the world.
Yo, good typo by Kaista. I like it. I won't repeat it. It's not exactly appropriate, but it's a good word. It's a good word. At this point, it's one of the slower parts of the run. We have some cutscenes to get through before we actually start getting to the segment that really became quite awesome over the last couple of months. With the trash can and the ferret. Yeah. You can look forward to that. Really, the only thing that these folks have to remember to do here is there's some equipping they need to do before getting on that boat. If you leave the tiara on Rydia and then get on the boat, she keeps it and leaves your party and you'll never see it again. Which is not the end of the world by any means, but you want to remember to get it off for sure. That's something I do pretty much all the time, is forget that, among other things. Yo, nice subs. I think I've seen a few. There's Storm. I want to say there was Uber. No, Asian Blue Suasion subbed as well. So thanks, folks. I believe all that money either goes directly to Nami or helps for the funds for RPG Limit Break, which is like essentially the same. So thank you very much for that support. We appreciate it, and I know the organizers and everybody else does as well.
So the runners have started to deviate from their formation changes now. You might have seen No Cash move Cecil to the middle. I think No Cash will use a different formation, at least for Milon and Milon Z. I'm guessing Wagon will be as well, but Niram will keep the same formation because that formation is necessary for what he's going to do later on.
Yeah, there will be some moments where we'll see some differences. A lot of the runners do a lot of the same things. It's just the most optimal route. But there's a couple of things you'll actually see some deviations, which is always cool to see. Certain things can pay off in some ways and not in others, and some people just swear by stuff, and some people don't, and you just never know. Makes competition a lot more interesting as well.
Certainly in a race, like you want to, you don't necessarily have to take big risks to win a race. You just have to be consistent. So as long as you use consistent strats and see what happens, you can always go riskier at the end of the race. But as long as you're doing the right things, then you'll certainly be in there. And judging by the streams, well, they're on the same cutscene, like seconds apart, after 45 minutes of the run, which is pretty awesome, I must admit.
So as far as storyline goes, you know, we've been trying to protect the crystals for a while. We've met some new people on the way, and we just lost the Fabule one to our new villain here, Golbez. Trying to go after him, and things are just not quite going to work out for our heroes with the entrance here of Leviathan.
That pretty much sums up the entire game, is nothing goes right for our heroes.
That's actually quite true, isn't it?
Well, the captain doesn't even know where Baron is. Like, Baron is to the northwest of Fabule, and he actually goes east and then south. So, awesome job, Captain. He's
I mean, I guess the
with
world's round,
Leviathan.
right? So he'll get there eventually, you know.
He will.
Okay, so we're gonna get to Mysidia here. No Cash looks like he'll arrive first. One of the other things that can get you is getting an encounter before... Yep, there. Oops.
You jerk. Just kidding.
At least it was a regular one. We're going to do a first bit of like intense shopping here. We have a lot of gold, and we are not afraid to use it. So we're going to pick up 10 Gaia helms, 10 Gaia armors, 10 silver rings, and then 1 paladin shield, 1 paladin glove. The Gaias are going to help out not only with defense for our magic users, but also for their magic. And then, of course, the paladin armors are all for Cecil for later on. And then we're going to buy all the healing items we're going to need for the most part up until the very end. A bunch of Cure 2s, Lifes, Heals, and Ethers. And we can do that because we duped those shields oh so long ago and got a lot of money. Much faster to get 10 instead of buying exactly how much you need. You may as well just go for it.
Yeah. The reason they get that they only buy 1 paladin shield and gloves is because we need the inventory slots. Later on, we basically only have 4 inventory slots maximum, I think, up our sleeve to do our final equipping, and we need 2 of them. So having fewer items is obviously essential for our run.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate when you get somewhere and you have to pick up an item and you don't have any room in your inventory, like at the very, very end, and you have to be sad for the whole run, knowing that's about to happen.
People cringe when they buy like when you're doing this menuing, you have to buy things really quickly because obviously it's a speed run, hence to state the obvious. But sometimes people will buy like 3 sets of Gaia hats or 2 sets of Cure ones because it's just trying to mash frantically through the buying. That's always fun.
And then you just take a hit somewhere. It's like, do I take the time and lose time to sell so I can free up the inventory, but that takes forever? Or do I just have to go knowing that I could be screwed later on and not have enough room for something I know I need?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to be careful, and it's not something like to facepalm over too much. Like it's happened to all of us. Like sometimes it's just a little bit better to go a little bit slower, because an input can get eaten. And it looks like we have another lead change here, as Cash got into an unfortunate back attack with the Raven, and Nurem has now just already entered the cutscene.
And he hits the lead. The crowd goes wild.
And that just goes to show that's all it can take, especially amongst top tier runners. Just one more or less back attack, especially in the early going, is all you need. And that's probably one of the more forgiving ones too, the Raven. Minor Deals has some pretty nasty back attacks as well that hopefully neither of our runners run into, namely getting 7 zombies or getting 4 ghosts and 2 skeletons. 7 zombies, because there's 7 of them, and then with the ghosts they cast Fire 1, which takes longer to do than just a normal physical hit, so that can be really, really frustrating.
Although if you're near him, like what he's going to do later on is he'll need Porum to be hit slightly. He'll be killing Porum in a second.
Oh. I see.
Oh god.
Alright, well, I think Roth's gonna take over commentary full time here, and I'm just gonna remove myself. I'm sorry, Nerb.
Yes.
Damn,
We
that's
feel
like
your pain.
I think that's the worst one. That's the
That
worst
probably
one on the
is
mountain, right?
worse than 7 zombies, yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
So it looks
Sorry,
like
Nerm.
takes to go. Oh my god. Okay.
It'll be interesting to see if the runners safety save before Milon.
I think it'll have to do with the strats they're going to use. Like I could be wrong, but I can't imagine that no cash is going to safety save.
Yeah, you're correct.
And No Cash didn't pick up that extra thing, so I think he'll go with classic stuff. What he knows and what's consistent. And it's a race, you gotta do what you're comfortable with. For sure.
Definitely.
And then I think we'll probably see Nerm go for it and see what happens. So that trash can and carrot movement that was alluded to before is going to hit the forefront here very, very shortly once Nerm can get his fight started.
Yeah, so it'll be a really special moment if what he does pays off. So we won't say too much about it until after the fight. We'll just see how the fights go and marvel in wonder. But in the fight itself, you can't do damage with Cecil to the zombies. They're just immune to the Shadow Sword, but you can cure them to death.
Yeah,
So,
those classic
that's
undead
the
traits
strats.
apply. Sorry.
Yes. So yeah, and Milon will retaliate any damage done to him with Lit 1, and his normal attack phase basically attacking someone and then Lit 1. So sometimes you can get 2 of them in a row. And Paladin and Porum if Porum has a TR, which I'm not sure if No Cash will be using, Porum can get Paladin can get pretty sniped pretty quickly in this fight.
Looks like we will be seeing the safety save from Nerm here. We do have a bit of a gap, so it's probably going to be pretty easy to talk about here. The Milon strat, No Cash will be using is the kind of classic one. We're going to throw a bunch of Cure 2s at these zombies because they're going to get one shot by them. Since they're undead, getting healed basically. And then from there, you're going to twin Milon to death. You want to see flares, not comets. And hopefully you want to get him in 2 casts and not 3 or more. It's consistent-ish, but it's going to take more time than what Nerm does if he's successful here. I'll let Roth take the reins here for this strat.
Sure. So Nerm will do some weird things, and then something weirder will happen, so we'll basically just watch what happens. I'm quite excited to see what happens. Let him concentrate as well. $714 Comet on No Cash is pretty decent. Usually it does like 500.
Yeah. Or sometimes like 300 or 400.
Yeah, that's the worst. Pretty decent fight so far.
Ooh, multiple comments for No Cash. It's no fun, although the damage is pretty good.
Yeah.
Kieran's catalog. Looks like Nurm will be successful here, yeah. Yep.
Yes, yeah. Watch Nirm's stream,
done.
guys.
Well done. Give him a round
It's an
of
awesome
applause
moment.
here.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Well done. Well
Yes.
done.
So yeah, this glitch is madness. It gets me every time. Just like the 64 door glitch. I'm gonna still be quiet because I'm not sure what Nirm's gonna do for Milon Z, but that's also intense in concentration. So I'll talk about it after the fight. But he's basically at the moment he's just killed Milon with a carrot, which he can't normally do. And to kill Milon Z, you basically twin/cure to him to death. He's got 3,000 hit points.
Looks like for no cash here, he's going the normal way as well. Attacking and cure twing and twinning as necessary, blinking a twin if they get hit so that they can dodge attacks. Trying to avoid poison as best as possible, because poison just eats up a bunch of time. Its message for some reason just lasts forever.
Yep.
But it's looking like it's working out for him quite well. I think I only saw one poison.
Okay. I've lost my video feed.
I see.
Had a really bad time. I can hear you though, Big.
Nurm with
Okay.
that instant
So-
trash can.
So Nurm got the
Instant
trash
trash
can.
can.
as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, what a beast. So now he's
That's
ahead of no cash, just by a split second.
Tiny
now.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Wow, that's
well
insane.
done. Well done.
Good job,
Congrats,
Nurm.
Throwing the trash
Very
can
well
and the
done.
carrot was supposedly thought to only be pass only until
Yes.
it got dissected by the community by Nurm and the Roth and figured out how we can make that happen.
Yeah.
And Nurm started throwing carrots at all his enemies, and we all ran in terror.
So what was fun about that one is because Porum was dead for Milon, Tella actually went before. I had to do a sick recovery thing I've never
Yes.
actually done before. So I'm very, very happy that it worked. I have no idea.
Yeah, so you're very lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. I actually forgot that you had Porum dead in Milon. I'm not sure if you'd try to resurrect him. Or her, rather. Alright, so the trash can glitch. Now, I'm not 100% on it, so Niram can correct me if I'm wrong. But what happens with the trash can glitch is when you use twin on one of the twins, the other one will mimic what the other guy's doing. So I think that's how twin works. So if Palom uses twin, then Porum will mimic what Palom is doing. But if that twin, if you use twin with Palom and then kill him, or similarly with Porum, which I think is what we do. So we use twin with Porum and then kill her immediately before she starts using twin. Then Palom will be like in a state of where he doesn't know what to do. He'll just be frozen there. But then when you start doing other things, Palom will start mimicking what you do. So he will mimic the action of one person and he will target the action of the second person in your kind of attack queue. So what we do is we use one character to attack Milon, and then the other one will be using an item, but we won't actually use that item. We will wait for that person to be killed. It's kind of the only way that we can actually get trash can to work, because you normally can't attack with, you can't use trash can or a carrot. So we pretend we're going to use an item such as Cure 2 and then swap the Cure 2 with the carrot, and then get out of Cecil's menu and then either hope he dies or cast Stop on him, which is what we do for Milon and Milon Z. And the act of doing that will then force Palom to mimic what Cecil's doing on the action that someone else did, on the target that someone else did. So it's yeah, I'm quite baffled at how awesome it works. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, it used to be only thought like a previously only done by robots, I guess, with TAS, which is what Kater and Pick were saying earlier. But Niram pretty much found the strats by himself. So full shout-outs to Niram for finding it.
It's kind of funny how it all came together. Like it.
Oh yeah.
Just like yeah, it was a task thing. It's cool, whatever. And then Nerm did it on accident, and it was just like,
Yes.
what? So
Yeah.
then we people sat around and tried to repeat it, and it just wouldn't work. And then yeah, I think Nerm put in a lot of time and thought into it. It's like, you know what? I think I can try this or that or this or that, and really got it
Yeah.
optimized to the point where yeah, it's still somewhat difficult in places, and definitely still risky. Things do need to go your way, but it's a lot more consistent than we ever thought could be possible.
Yeah. Well, it used to like Niram's highlight of him doing the mimic glitch, like accidentally, was like months before we actually, like he actually did research into the mimic glitch itself. I was going to say something else, but I've completely forgotten.
Well, while you
Thumbs
figure
up,
that
Ross.
out, we got a little tip here. While you try to remember, we got a little tip here that there are apparently multiple versions of this game. There's a 1.0 cart and a 1.1.
Oh, yes.
And it seems that this mimicking glitch, if you will, only works on the 1.0 cart. So for anybody looking to try out the strategy and you're playing on a legit console, you may want to check out what version you got, or just try it and know that if it's not working, it's very easily not because of something you're doing. It's because it's just not
Physically
possible.
can't. Yeah. Yeah, what I was going to say was, I remember, when we first realized Mimic Glitch was possible, the strats for it were unfortunately a lot slower than previous, like the currently used strats, which is, it's horrible because you want to do something really cool, like throw trash cans and carrots at monsters. It's just such a cool thing, but then Niram again found a much faster way to do both Milon and Milon Z. The Milon fight became a lot safer and a lot faster, and the Milon Z fight, well, it became, I guess, it became, well, still just as dangerous, I guess, but a lot faster. Instead of relying on several things to go right from your own party and not having to rely on Milon Z killing your people, you just have to rely on Milon Z killing Cecil before anyone else, basically. It's kind of the only two changes, but it's god as fast when it goes right, and you can actually get like sub 57 minute Milon Z times. That's kind of our ideal thing. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it will.
I remember not too long ago, the dream was getting under 59, and now
That got
we got,
destroyed.
58s are like almost normal, and people have gotten multiple times 57s, and we're already talking about 56s. And speedrunning sometimes just really, really awesome in that regard. You just never know what's going to happen. Also, shout outs to 300 some odd viewers. Thank you all for watching tonight.
Yes, thank you guys. This can't happen without you guys, so thank you for tuning in. This race is going to be awesome. We still have another 2 hours left.
Although the only thing I'm a little sad about now, actually, is the fact that no one casted pigs on their party for Milon Z.
Oh, yes.
I realize that.
Yes, that was that's really awesome. Shout outs to LCC who discovered that marvel. The pig holding the legend sword, and look at this little kid trolling near him. And then the lady as well. Nice.
Well done. And the optimal guard fight is just throwing 2 dancing daggers, getting a chain rod off Hallam. Should happen quite easily. Oh my, 447.28. Nice see. Looks like we have a good raid here.
Oh, my 447.28. Hello, Raiders.
Welcome everybody. You are watching the finals of our first ever Final Fantasy IV No 64 tournament between Nerm and No Cash, 2 of the best runners that we got to offer here. And they are quite close together still, which is very hype.
Yeah, they're in the same boss fight pretty much. Okay, well, nothing much is going on. I have to go. So I'm going to sign out. So thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy the next 2 hours of the race. It's gonna be awesome. Congratulations to Niram and No Cash for making the final. Thank you Proexel for letting us host on RPG Limit Break, and yeah, thanks to the commentators as well for helping out, Big, Asian, and Kata, and Feral Pigman later on. So thanks for watching, guys, and
Have a good one, Roth.
I will. Thank you, mate. I'll see you around.
Thanks, Roth.
See you
Have
later,
a good
Roth.
night. I'll talk to you soon.
Alright, mate. Good luck, guys.
Alright, so one thing y'all should know if you don't already, the _Roth is a great speedrunner of this game. He will be playing it at RPG Limit Break as part of the four-way race, and he very much has the distinctive world record for any percent, and is the first ever and the only person right now to get that under 2 hours. So he is a badass, and y'all need to follow him if you aren't already, because he is a fantastic runner, and thank you very much for the commentary.
Is the Feral Pigman, is he coming in today? Is he coming in later?
He is supposed to, but I don't know if he's still around right now. So if
Kata's
Kata
here, right?
wants to back me up here, then
Yeah, we could swing it.
Sweet.
You could be the Jim Ross, and I'll be the Jerry Lawler.
So we got talking about a bunch of stuff during that Yang fight, and I know, at least for me personally, when I was casually playing this, I would just kind of go all out and cast all of Tella's spells on him and do all kinds of crap. And it's like, how does this guy have like 30,000 hit points, you know? Turns out it's also scripted, and all you gotta do is wait for him to take 2 actions. And then if you hit him with, or if you just attack him with Cecil, you don't actually even have to land the hit. Fight is programmed is over. It's something I never knew for all of my years playing this game. Is that also a fight where he has? Is that another fight, Kata, where he has like 65,000 hit points or whatever?
Yes, he does. And I used to actually kill him when I was a kid playing this game, just because. Why not? I used to cast like Ice 3 and Fire 3 and stuff like that on him, but yeah, he's got a ton of HP in that one too.
You saw Nurm get into a brutal back attack, 2 crocodiles, 3 shells. The crocodiles attack twice per turn, and then they're also faster than you, so they can actually go again, and they can hit you 4 times each. And you just gotta sit there, especially in a race, you just gotta sit there and take it. There are some very, very mean back attacks in this area, and you can lose a lot of time here. Looks like Nurm still has a bit of a lead here. He's entered Baron Castle, and No Cash will be getting there quite soon.
Nurm is going to be doing some fancy magic work here in a second to do something called the MP Underflow glitch, which is going to give him a lot of MP. He's going to cast a spell that he doesn't have enough MP to cast. As you see right here, you tier 4, and suddenly, oh, look at that, he's got crazy boomerang 06 MP. That's going to make him be able to cast a lot of things that he shouldn't be able to. And we'll see how that goes at the end of the next fight.
Yeah, the MP Underflow also allows for great ways to get through fights very, very quickly. As we'll see here in the Baigan fight for Nurm. It's pretty simple. You basically get his NP low enough. You start on a spell that he can't cast, move your arrow to a slot he can cast, and then move back to that other spell and hit A on the same frame. You'll be able to cast the spell even though you didn't have enough MP. Instead of getting that negative number, you just have J06, which is a lot. You can't cast anything outside of battle, but inside of battle you will essentially have infinite points. With this Baigan fight, it's the start of a strat here to get experience for our boy Kain, who's going to return to the party eventually. And this is also one of the few points that runners have vastly different strats for. You basically have an array of 5 fights. Okay, it's Boomerang. I apologize. You have an array of 5 fights: Baigan, Cagnazzo, Flame Dog, Magus Sisters, Dark Elf, that you really can only have 2 people alive for, and that's because you really want to maximize the experience you get. If, let's say, Baigen here gives 10,000 XP, then I have 5 party members, everybody gets 2,000 XP each. But if I only have 2 members alive, that only gets split up by the 2, so the 2 guys would get 5,000 experience each instead. You get more experience. What's interesting is that any party member that's joined you has left, but will eventually return, also gets this experience. So, if, for example, here we stick with the same numbers, and Cecil and Tella gain 5,000 experience from Baigen, so does Kain. And when he joins us back right before Balbalus, we want him to be at level 19, so that he is a beast. So you'll see that everybody has killed off most of their party members except Cecil and Tella for the sake of earning more experience to beef up Kain. And what you also saw is because we underflowed Tella's MP, he has enough MP to cast Medio, which he never would be able to before us, so that just makes quick work of Baigen. As far as Cagnazzo is concerned, it's one of the biggest RNG rolls you can have. It looks like Nurm did not get RNG on his side. Cagnazzo has 4,000 hit points, and your biggest source of damage is Tella's Lit 3. Tella's Lit 3 can do anywhere from like 3,300-ish to almost 5,000. And you really just hope Tella one-shots him, or else you have to sit here forever, and it wastes a lot of time. Looks like Nurm just didn't have a look out for him. We'll see how No Cash does here. So No Cash got his 3920, which wouldn't have killed Cagnazzo on his own, but since Cecil got a hit in, I think Yang also, before he died, it did enough damage. So because Nurm didn't get the damage roll he wanted, these guys are once again pretty much neck and neck, which is pretty insane. It just goes to show just how great these runners are.
Yeah, this is pretty much like starting from square one here. They're within 10 to 15 seconds of each other, and that's pretty cool.
Well done, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, Nurm. I had 2 back attacks on the way. I think Nurm had that one really bad one, so it's just crazy how different strats and different luck, and you're tied after an hour 15 or whatever.
So No Cash, you had Yang alive for Baigen?
No, actually, he did. It was funny because he had 432 health, and he had 433 health. Baigen hit him for 1, so he had 432. I threw a dagger at him, and it did 432 health exactly. And that's usually where I do my claw dupe, Yang's left-hand dupe for the cat claw later. So now I'll have to find another place to do that. I'll probably just end up doing it in Dark Elf, but it's just funny how exact damage, and now I have to change something for later. So I have them all dead, so I'll just have to have one more dead later for probably Magus Sisters.
There's a lot of leeway the runners have for this. It just needs to work out on 3 of the 5 occasions, and they'll have the level 19 Kain that they want. So I think Nurm had them both dead for Cagnazzo and Baigen, Yang dead rather. So
I think Nurm went with total death with everybody. Yeah. I think it was just Tella. He's going for it early.
Yeah, so he'll be just fine. Probably already, but
yeah, that wasn't exactly intentional. Hey, it works.
Yeah, he might have to maybe do something for Dark Elf or Flame Dog, but he doesn't really have to go out of his way for anything at this point to get his level 19 Kain. Whereas No Cash will have to put in a little bit extra work. Not to the point where he's losing tons of time or anything, or has to do anything crazy, but yeah, it's something that has to be on his mind when he progresses through the run.
Thanks everybody for watching. Another good viewer hype. It's doubled since last time we mentioned it, so...
Oh, 560.
Oh, nice. welcome everybody. Thanks Puexel for the raid, and congratulations on your new Chrono Trigger world record. Puexel is also one of your main organizers for RPG Limit Break. He's the one who, with a handful of other people, really wanted to make sure RPG marathons continued. So this channel is his doing, and the work of others as well. We're very happy to have this tournament race here at the channel.
So there's not a whole lot exciting going on in the next few minutes of the run. Just flying around and talking to Edward and whatnot. The next fun thing is watching chocobos be caught. I don't know if everybody's going to use any type of manipulation to try to make that easier or not, but that could be an exciting adventure.
There actually is one thing that's kind of important, maybe just a little bit. That's our MLG airship landing here. So these guys are gonna fly over to Troia soon, and there's only one spot you can land on. We really want to get on that one spot without having to stop or change our course, because we're badasses like that. Looks like No Cash was just one row off. Let's see what. But Nerm got it. Well done. It's brownie points for him.
Dang, I'm gonna lose now.
There are all kinds of other things that can happen. You can accidentally crush the town. You know, you can fly a perimeter around. You know, and just kind of waste some time because landing is hard sometimes. Oh man. We're setting up cutscenes here to head over to the Dark Elf Cave. The Dark Elf Cave is home to some, let's say, 2 different magical back attacks that our runners really, really love. Before we get there, though, some chocobo catching is needed. You do have to get the black chocobo to fly over to the Dark Elf Island. You can roll the dice and see that hopefully they spawn kind of near you, and then you have to kind of hope you can juke them well enough to grab them real fast and hope they don't cross you up. Or it's been found that you can save and reset, and it pretty much resets the movement of the chocobos and their positioning, so you can walk the same exact path every time and catch one. But of course it eats the time because you have to save and reset to do that. So it can even out depending on how good the person is at catching chocobos. One other thing you might have noticed is that they had to ether Tella. He does have the underflow glitch still on, and you can't cast spells outside of battle. So you will throw an ether on him to take it off so he can cast exit, so you can leave the castle a lot faster.
Ooh, nobody went for the reset.
Yeah, no one went for the manipulation, and both of them are not having the best roundup. Nerm especially. No Cashes was probably about average, and then Nerm got owned a little bit there. So it looks like No Cash is back in the lead. If you remember this game, this cave has the gimmick of basically paralyzing your party member if they're wearing anything metal. So usually you would go out of your way to wear all cloth stuff and whatnot. But in this case, we don't have to do that. Everybody's got all their gear on, which means everybody's going to be paralyzed except for Sid. But you only need one person up and ready to go for you to run away from battle. So as long as nothing happens to Sid, then you're totally fine. Looks like Nerm ran into 2 mages, which is what you never want in a back attack or surprise attack. They can paralyze Sid, and you have to sit there and wait till it wears off, because he's the only one capable of running away. The other one that's rough, Ooh,
oh man.
I really
Jeez
just gotta stop talking
Louise.
about back attacks because everybody gets them. Someone gets them whenever I bring it up. The other one,
Soul crushing.
the other one are bats. Bats use that drain ability, and it just takes years for them to cast, especially when there's 6 of them. So that's another back attack that's not so friendly. It's like Nerm here is getting unlucky again.
Yeah, those mages can paralyze you, and that's really, really bad. If they paralyze Sid, you might as well go get something to drink, make yourself something to eat. you're going to be sitting there for a while.
Yeah. And one thing you have to refrain from doing is just sitting there trying to run away. So that actually takes longer for you to heal the paralyzed the old-fashioned way by waiting. So you can just sit there and take it for a while. Alright, so now that No Cash is in Dark Elf Cave, he can put Sid's gear back on and put the medal on. And what that'll do is that'll make all members paralyzed. But since you're essentially scripted to die in this battle anyway, it just counts as you progressing the story. You don't game over or anything like that. No one got any bat back attacks though.
Oh, there's still time.
Oh, I know. There's actually going to be quite the donation incentive centered around bats for this run, you guys. If you're going to be watching that, which of course you are, because you're cool people like that, you want to keep your eye out for said donation incentives for this game. They're quite spectacular. Quite spectacular. Okay, so when we come back from this cutscene here, we're all fully healed, we're equipped already from before the cutscene, and we're gonna get ready to go. We are still following the strategy of killing off party members, so you will see Sid get killed, 100% chance. We'll see what the other runners do with other party members. The goal here is basically to get through your turns and get Dark Elf transformed into his dragon form, so that you can cast Weak on him, because for whatever reason he isn't flagged to be immune to that, and so you can kill him off with just one physical hit. Ooh, nice. That was a hell of a crit.
Yeah, that's probably gonna make him turn early, because that was a very strong critical attack.
So it looks like No Cash gets the great luck here. Yang's weakened, which means it's gonna be real easy to just kill him off and get that extra experience. This fight's actually quite easy, but you do have to be very, very fast. You want to try to get Dark Elf here turned before he has a chance to cast Piggy on someone. If he happens to land it on Tella like that, then you have to take the time to heal him, which will eat some time. So it looks like No Cash pretty much got his idea to fight.
I think No Cash missed the dupe, though, which I think was something he was looking to do there.
Yeah,
What's
I
up,
gotta figure
everybody?
somewhere else.
What's up, Pharaoh? Okay, so we got another commentator here with us. That is Feral Pigman. He will be commentating the FF4 race, and he will be running Lufia 2 at RPG Limit Break. Ran this game for a while and was at the 2 relays ago. He played 2 relays ago and commentated at the last relay. Welcome, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, everyone. Looks like a pretty good race. Everyone. Nerve and No Cash are basically right
All
next
2
to
of
each other,
them.
just like-
All 2 of them doing a great job so far.
Yeah.
So we're probably seeing the biggest lead we've seen in a really long time. It's not even big at all. They are still quite close to each other. We're going to be moving on to yet another frustrating dungeon here. The Tower of Zod, I believe it's called, is just full of madness. There are some really bad back attacks in there. There are swordsmen who are faster than you, and even if you get into a regular battle, they're going to hit you before you can run away. It seems like you just get a lot of back attacks in there for some reason.
Yeah,
So
it's just constant back attacks in Tower of Zod.
so it can be quite a frustrating place.
The Tower of Zod is probably where I see most runs lost to random battles. It's just completely brutal in there.
And you see No Cash is safety saving before he hops on the airship to go there, which is not a bad move at all, because bad things can just really happen in there. I believe No Cash probably had one of the worst towers I've seen in a run, where he had 8 back attacks in a row. And so it's a brutal place. It's probably one of the first points where being so underleveled really kind of catches up to you. And of course you can get by, obviously, but things are just a little bit more dangerous.
And both players, since you know, they killed people off during the Dark Elf fight, both players are going to be going with I think only two living party members, so that makes it even more dangerous. If you do get into an encounter and into a bad encounter, things can go bad real quick.
Yeah, especially for Nurm right now. His Cecil is at half health, and just a bad enough back attack could actually kill him. For all you treasure enthusiasts, we will be stopping and getting yet another one. No Cash is going to be getting there real soon. We're going to fight a Flame Dog here for the Fire Sword, which is super buff. There was a point in time where some people, including myself, were like, nah, we don't need it. But it's quite good, so we're going to gear up for it here, and it's very dangerous with just having 2 people alive. Doesn't matter where you're at, what No Cash and Nurm are going to do is heal up to full. We're going to try to cover Tella here as fast as we possibly can, so that he lives long enough to cast Ice 2 on his dog to one-shot him. Cecil's probably going to die here. Or, I guess not. He got lucky. Not that it would have mattered. It would have been fine either way. But...
Yeah, Cecil doesn't really need the XP, and of course, if he's dead, then it gives Kain even more XP. Just to ensure, basically, that we get level 19. But I'm sure that will happen, since, given, just from what I've seen, the number of party members being dead.
Yeah, it looks like both men are definitely just guaranteed for that, and they're going to be just fine. Both men survive the fight as well, and so we really just got to hope they get through this walk here without too much trouble.
And I missed if No Cash did it, but towards the end, at the end of that Flame Dog battle, Nurm did a half dupe on Cecil's weapon slot. So that's just I don't know if you explained half duping as well earlier.
I don't believe so. Just the full dupe. So you go for it.
So the half dupe is, as it sounds, it's you basically do half of what you would do for the full dupe. And what this does is, instead of giving 255 of whatever you then put into that slot, it basically just dupes it once. So you end up with 2 of whatever you put into that slot, which Nurm and I believe No Cash will probably do it as well. They'll equip the Fire Sword. So instead of just having 1, we'll have 2, and that'll come in real handy against Golbez, because Golbez is weak against fire.
Yeah, it's not mandatory, but you'll see on the Golbez fight in a while about why you really want to maximize your damage output. So they're going to have 2 sets of Fire Swords, one for Cecil, one for Kain, for that purpose, but we'll get there when we get there. Looks like Nurm is just not having a great walk here.
Yeah, ideally, you obviously would not want to have to heal, but he's gonna need to, just because Cecil was down to 600 by himself. So it's not exactly the situation you want to be in this tower.
Interesting.
That was an accident. My bad.
Well, you've probably done enough fights that it doesn't matter that much. Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. The Magus Sister fight is pretty much the same as Baigen. You really take the time to protect Tella, especially if you're only going to come in with 2 party members, and then you're going to queue up Medio, and you'll take the time to either kill party members off, or you will start setting up some dupes. What they definitely want to do at some point in time is dupe Cecil's hand for that Fire Sword, and if they can, dupe one of Yang's hands as well for the later. Really the only danger here is if Tella dies. You're pretty much gonna be fine as long as you're covering him. If you have to, you heal him if he gets hit by a spell. That's about it. So it looks
Yeah,
like...
if you... I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that Tella really only is gonna die if he if he gets hit by 2 spells, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously the number of party members you have will, like if you have more party members alive, then probably the spells aren't gonna hit him twice. But since a lot of times they'll come in here with two party members, it's 25% chance that he gets hit by two spells. And you do not want him to die, because then it just sucks. You have to revive him and then queue up Medio again.
Yeah, it's brutal. You actually can die, or at the very least, you're losing a crap ton of time. It looks like Nirim cut the deficit again here, and these guys are very close, very, very close. Once one pulls away, and just another catches up real quick. So it's quite nice. This is also a nice cutscene in that it's one of the very few you can walk away from entirely and, grab a drink or go to the bathroom or something like that. 3.5 hours is definitely not long per se compared to a lot of other RPG speedruns, but it's still 3 hours, and you want to be able to take care of stuff if you can. So that's nice. It's like a nice little midpoint break. Or not quite midpoint, but close enough.
Man, it's so cool on screen. Like it said on Nerm's screen, I'm spending my life and then to defeat you on my screen. It's like that close. It's like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you guys are so close. Like, I'm very impressed with our kind of higher level racers. Like, all of their races, for the most part, except for 1 or 2, have just been so close. It's been very cool to see.
So yeah, it's very nice, especially in a game like FF4 where, encounter luck can play a huge role in your time.
So we basically got some cutscenes. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just missed the fire dupe because I was focused on Yang's claw, which I should have been opposite. So it's not a huge deal, but it's something to look forward to when it comes to Gold Bez.
Yeah. It's definitely not the end of the world. You can easily do enough damage with just one fire sword, but we like being safe and consistent, and it doesn't technically take any time to do it, so you just never know, but we'll see what happens. So we will see the fruits of their labors here. All of those party member killings is to earn this guy here, Kain, enough XP to be level 19. Once he's level 19, everything for this Valveless fight comes into place. It was one of the biggest time saves we've seen in the last few months. We've done a lot of optimizations here and there for small things, but this level 19 Kain shaved a minute off of everybody's runs, and that's a lot of time. Also, shoutouts to Rudesu for subbing. Thanks very much. RPG Jerkbird. Yeah, with some good execution and a little bit of luck here, you will see both of these runners just demolish Valvelus. It will be amazing. If I recall correctly, Nirm got level 20 Kain once because he's a monster, and that was the worst thing ever. Nothing worked out. I don't quite remember why that happened, but it was kind of ironic that we had an even stronger Kain, but everything just went to heck.
Yeah, it's wait, no, that's a different guy, I think.
He looks to be 20 right now too.
Is he?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think I see a 20, but I thought that was someone else.
He's got 566. That's definitely level 20.
Oh my god, he's uh-oh.
Nice. Nice. So the issue here is that Kain's gonna be hitting harder, but it also I think will mess with the ATBs. So it's not yeah, it's all gonna be muscle memory at this point, like what you do at level 19 Kain. But since Kain's a higher level. People are gonna get turns out of order that Nerm is used to. And I'm sure. I mean, he's incredibly good at this game. I'm sure it won't be an issue.
Yeah, Kain. I believe Kain gets an additional agility multiplier, an attack multiplier from agility at level 19, which is why we level him up that one extra level. It causes him to do tons more damage. One multiplier in this game makes a huge difference. When you look at attack power, you say, okay, this weapon does 10, this weapon does 20. That's not near as important as the amount of multipliers that weapon gets.
He does way more damage, and enough work was put into formation and turn orders that basically, when done right, Kain jumps every turn. He will always land on her tornado right away, right as she turns into it, so you don't have to sit and wait for that. And by God, like when he lands on Valvalis and she's not in tornado form, he's done at least 1350 that I've seen. People might have seen him do more, which is just insane.
Yeah,
this is definitely
like 1900 or something at one point.
Wow. Wow, this is probably the first fight that required a lot of precision on the runner's part. You have to get your inputs in fast. You have to know exactly what to do. You have to know whose turn's coming up, so that you can get through her tornado forms without her casting anything additional. So it may not look like much what they're doing, but any one single mishap, the entire turn sequence is off, and they will pay for it with a lot of time.
That was a gold for me. It was a really good fight.
You had a really good fight. No cash.
Really solid.
Well done. Some great damage.
Needed one of
rolls
those.
Too,
Yeah, absolutely. Whew.
So Yang died for Nerm. It's not really a big deal. Kain is the guy that's dealing all the damage for the most part. Sid and Yang will deal like 200 or something each.
The problem with Yang dying for sure, the only thing that I like to point out is because it happened to me last run, is not worried about damage, it's definitely ATB. You saw that he attacked while she was in the tornado. That's the worst part.
True.
That's the worst part about it, is ruining your ATB.
It's very true.
Yeah,
But he
both
got
men
through fine,
executed
and
well, but yeah, just some things just don't quite go your way sometimes. The absolute worst is when Cecil gets weak and then hit right after and dies, because he's supposed to cover for everybody, and then everybody just starts getting sniped from there, and man, you just lose a ton of time. So at least that didn't happen for anybody. Definitely could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse. So we got our party reunited here, and since Kain's apparently not being controlled again, he's giving you a lot of information about what Golbez is up to. So you're gonna follow him underground, basically. First thing you're gonna see No Cash do here is hop on his airship and head south, so he can throw a key down a well and create an earthquake, because that's what happens when you do things like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm a guy who knows a lot about science, and it all makes sense to me. So
We'll see if he can avoid healing the well as well, because usually, like whenever I play this game, my cure 2s are nice. He avoided it.
Nice.
Like the cure 2s are first, and so like if you're just mashing A, to get it done, you mash A and then you immediately just throw cure 2 down the well. It's like, well, that's good.
That's ironic that Stinger wrecked my pyramid by creating his own pyramid. So we really just wrecked each other's pyramids.
Very good timing for both
For those
of you.
of you who are actually paying attention, it's not just a big wreck here. We just wrecked each other. That's actually that's doubly impressive. For those of you watching, definitely feel free to ask questions in chat, even if Feral Eye or Kata are in the middle of something. There are not only a bunch of mods in here who, or just people in general who know the game, but we can absolutely answer your questions eventually as well. So don't hesitate to ask. For those who are kind of familiar, you know there's another category, the true any percent, used to, or nicknamed diehard percent. This is where our runs will diverge here. Normally you would set up the glitch right before we enter our next couple of boss fights, and then after those boss fights you would do some crazy stuff and then win the game. But since this is no 64, they will be foregoing that and continuing the main storyline after that.
Yeah, if you've never seen a Die Hard run, I would highly suggest you check out some of these runners. Both of these runners do Die Hard, and I think Vic and some other people like in chat do that a lot. It's gotten revamped by myself, 086, I think is his handle. So it's a lot safer or faster now, and it's actually really cool. And the glitch itself is just so bizarre. It's definitely something you would want to see.
You're probably going to see a lot more action with any percent now that there's a new route for it that's much more consistent. I see I'm getting a lot of troll questions now. That's good.
Perfect.
Well
It's just
done.
what we want.
If you guys want to see a little thing about soft locks, I really enjoy plugging myself too much, but I do have an epic highlight where I soft lock the game within the first like 2 minutes, so you can check that out if you want.
That's truly amazing. Amazing soft lock.
Yeah. As far as estimates, I think someone brought it up. We should be the absolute ideal is that both runners are getting under 3 hours 20 minutes, but hopefully they end up getting easily. Hopefully they get around 315, 316, 317. No worse than that.
Yeah, right now they're on really good pace. I was just talking about in chat how the Sid left message, they're less than 2 minutes off of that for world record pace. So that puts them on 313 and 314 pace right now, which is really good.
Nice.
So we are entering the dreaded Dolls fight. Definitely the bane of newer runners for sure, as it's really easy to kind of screw it up. The goal here is to get yourself down to one of each doll and then kill both dolls essentially simultaneously, because once you kill one type of doll, it's going to turn into the big doll, and that's not something you want. It's something you can absolutely survive, but it's a time waster of none other. So we really want to make sure we do this accurately, and they have to plan this out real well, which would be nice and good, but damage rolls can screw you over pretty well. I see we're getting raided again.
Blag is back.
We're getting some like really good raids today.
Welcome, Raiders.
Welcome everybody. So the orange dolls have 300 hit points, the blue ones have 1,000. You basically just have to work your way through. The ideal is, of course, for Kain to one-shot the blue dolls, for Cecil to one-shot his orange dolls, and you just get to 2 dolls real quick, no problem. If, for whatever reason, those things don't happen, then you have to just fill in as best as you can.
So both players just muted their whole party with Rosa. That probably seems kind of odd, but it's all for setting up the next battle against Golbez. Essentially, it's just the game not being able to handle like multiple SAS effects on one character. So Cecil being you don't have to do the whole party. It's really just Cecil. But Cecil being muted here allows him to act in the next battle, because Golbez's first thing is he immediately just paralyzes everybody, but since Cecil is muted, he can't be paralyzed, so you get to, do some inventory management, and then you end up being able to attack with him, where normally you just wouldn't be able to.
Yo, thanks for the raid, and thanks, Alex, for the sub as well. I almost said host. Okay. So what you saw with Nurm here, and what you will see with No Cash, is that they're going to wait for Kain's turn, hit the run buffer, and then get him to jump. And it's the same concept. Normally on Battle Speed 1, the game goes too fast, and Kain will not get his jump off. We used to have to do all this sequence in Battle Speed 2. But with the run buffer, since you can get his jump input in before really anything happens, since you pause the ATB, he can get the jump off beforehand. And he's going to do, theoretically, lots and lots of damage to Golbez when he lands. We really, really want that damage.
You also see a lot of inventory adjustments right here, while Golbez is flapping his gums. Cecil is putting everything the way he wants so that he can cut Golbez to pieces.
Nice. So Nurm just got what we call Ridiolus. This is like really, it really came to be when we started using the fire swords. And No Cash also got it. So normally like you deal damage and then some mysterious person heals your paralysis. And then so typically without 2 fire swords, or even without 1 fire sword, it can be difficult to do enough damage to skip the entire basically sequence where Rydia comes in at all. There's kind of 2 stages you can, because normally she would heal you and then come in. You can, it's actually very easy to skip the part where she actually appears. But if you don't have both fire swords and get good damage rolls, then it's very possible that you get her dialogue and it's saying that you can move now and all that jazz.
Just a fun fact, that dialogue and that heal is actually part of Golbez's battle script. So it's not one of your party members that's doing it. It's actually Golbez healing you from that paralysis.
That's funny.
Did you want to explain the warp, what we're doing right now? Because then what happens if you don't do it? I know that you
Sure.
want to explain that.
I feel like we can defer that to Bick.
I don't know why. It's not like I'm an expert at that or anything. But the design of warp is you cast warp and it takes you to the floor you were previously on. And so once you leave that Dolls Fight crystal room, you end up in the throne room. If you cast warp, well, what was the room you were previously in? The crystal room. So you can go back in, and for whatever reason, the crystal that just got stolen is totally still there, and you can grab that. And that actually saves a heck of a lot of time. Now that you have a dark crystal in your inventory, they're actually going to be able to skip the sealed cave and not have to do it. And I'm pretty much notorious for forgetting to do that every single time that I run this category. Actually, I even forgot to do it once during Die Hard as well or something like that. But anyway. Anyway, yeah, you are in a world of hurt if you leave the throne room without warping to get that crystal first, because then you can't go back and get it. Because once you re-enter the throne room, warp takes you to a different room, because that's now your new previous room. So, one of the things you gotta remember to do it no matter what. Get your warp in, grab the crystal, or else you may as well just start your game over. Luckily, our 2 runners here are very, very professional, and the chance of that happening is essentially 0. So we're good on that part.
It's cool, again, just another hour 51 in, and it's like pretty close.
Still a very, very close race.
It is so close, it's unbelievable. I'm very impressed by this. It's everything we could have asked for. Looks like both runners on the walk are getting some back attacks here. Basically keeping things exactly as even, practically. Yeah, for those in chat, Reign of Soten here is an old school runner of this. He actually was the one to run it the last time this game was at a GDQ some years ago. So shoutouts to him. So our aim here is basically to get those crystals back because they, for some strange reason, just keep getting stolen from under our noses. So we're gonna be badasses here and attack the tower head on and see what we can do. This tower, I mean, basically, it seems the gist of the game is anytime you're in a tower, you can really get owned by encounters and back attacks and stuff. I don't know if I would quite consider it as bad as Odd. It probably is, but that might just be my personal opinion. But it's definitely pretty rough, and it's long. It's a long dungeon.
It is. So right now, you see Nurm is about to grab, once he gets out of this encounter, the cat claws. Cat claws are very useful because they, I think, increase your agility by 5 each? 5 or 10, I kind of forget. This is going to come definitely in, wow, can't speak. This is going to be handy later when we get edge, and essentially once you throw 2 of them on, you can outspeed anything, even back attacks and surprise attacks. You can run away for the most part without getting attacked by any of the enemies. There are some exceptions, but cat claws are very, very useful. And I think they also cause you to deal more damage versus machine enemies or something like that. Which the boss coming up counts as that. So you're going to be seeing Yang do quite a bit of damage to him once we equip a cat claw.
There's a lot of stuff that comes together for Yang right here.
My LNR didn't work for a second.
I see that. I just saw that. A lot of things come together. At this level, he starts to do a lot more damage in general, and then with Thunder Claws and Cat Claws, he does even more damage. And so he will be, he along with Kain here are going to be your primary damage dealers for the upcoming boss. They also duped Yang's hand at some point earlier in the run, so they can dupe those Cat Claws. Cat Claws are basically going to allow Edge, when we eventually get him, to outrun nearly everything. There's some stuff they have to plan in advance. I mean, not that it's the end of the world if they don't, it just is more optimal this way. So I know, for me, and I think, well, just watching a lot of new runners as well, I believe this to be the case, but Luge is definitely the first fight where you can pay for a lot of mistakes if you don't know what you're doing. The fight is quite precise. From what I understand, talking to like El Magus and stuff, this fight used to be even harder than it is already. But you really have to know what you're doing here. And also, make sure you don't get owned by damage rolls as well, because you have to kill Luge and his robot at the same time, and you're in for a world of hurt if Balnab survives, and you're even more in a world of hurt if Luge survives. You want to get them both real fast.
Damn, that strength equip at the same time was pretty tight. On screen, sorry.
Yeah, these guys are so close, like it's incredible. So we'll see what happens here with Luge. You know, both runners are very good, so we should see a clean fight. You never quite know if the game's going to decide to screw one or both of them.
Yeah, so in general, both runners are going to err on, and this is always my kind of rule of thumb when I did this, just err on doing two more. If you're going to do too much damage to one of them, you want to kill Luge first. If Balnab's alive, he'll explode and possibly kill a party member. If Luge's alive, then he just wastes an immense amount of time.
Yeah.
But I think the battle's been optimized so that they'll both die at the same time, and it'll be very, very fast.
So you see both guys get their turns in and do a lot of inventory management during the dialogue. It's one of the best places to do that. And you'll see that Yang puts out a crap ton of damage. We'll get a Titan off from Rydia as long as she doesn't get sniped for some reason. And she will also do really good damage as well. So you begin to see why certain bad things can happen. A whole lot of people in this party can do a lot of damage or not quite as much, and it can kind of destroy your strategy of getting them both if your damage is too off. looks very clean for now.
So
Yeah,
Nerm got it done.
Yeah, Nerm had a great fight. Nerm had an absolute great fight. And we'll be moving on to the next phase. Keep our eyes on No Cash while this happens. The second part of Luge is quite simple. You're gonna hit him with Kain and Yang, and probably get a cast off with Rydia. He actually counters every attack with sleep. The chance of it hitting is low, but it does own you pretty bad if it does hit. So some people will be extreme to the point of not even doing anything with anybody except Kain and Yang in a cast from Rydia, just to make sure no one gets slept. The only other danger here is his laser. It's gonna kill someone, guaranteed. And hopefully it's not someone too useful, so you lose out. So you don't lose out on a bunch of damage.
Yeah, laser does, the amount of damage it does is based on Luge's remaining health. So the first one he does a lot of damage and just wrecks whoever it hits. But later on, if he survives long enough to do it again, he's going to be at such low life that it's really not an issue. It does like barely anything if he does get it off.
Alright, looks like a mostly good fight here for Nerm. Kind of sucked that Kain was one of the ones who died, but ultimately you can't complain too much beyond that. He got through it all.
And No Cash is done now, so it's like 10 second? 10 second difference maybe? 15 at most?
They're doing it. Yeah, I guess Nerm must have had a little bit less damage going on, so he did have a bit of a bigger lead through that first half.
I also got a level 19 Rosa, I think. No, one more level. My bad.
Sub 2 Luges. Yeah, I mean, sub 2 is absolutely what you want. You definitely don't want anything higher than that if you can help it, especially at their level of play. I think usually they're at around 158s, like you guys on your PBs. Somewhere around there? 157? Something like that? I don't know.
I'm ahead of mine. Nerm is probably not ahead of his.
Yeah, so the dungeon, unfortunately, is not over yet. We have to walk all the way back and also make a slight detour, which is where Nerm is headed right now. Typically, nothing you have to worry about for the most part, unless some of your party members are real low. Let's see what happens here.
So these imps basically have they have 200 life. So it's typically a very easy matter of just attacking them with each of your dudes in the front row. Alternatively, you can cast Ice 2, I think, on all of them with Rydia, and it'll just wipe them all. And then after this, you know, Yang just kind of, with his huge fists, punches you out of the doorway, and you try to get back in, but then it explodes. The funny thing is that if you hold up after this cutscene, you can just kind of walk in to the door, which the game doesn't expect you to do. I'm not quite sure why they why they don't disable the door like immediately. But if you do happen to walk into the doorway, your game will just soft lock. So you want to make sure you're not holding up on the D-pad when you're coming out of that cutscene.
Interestingly, one of the things like that I still haven't done, it's like one of the few stupid things that you can do that I somehow haven't done yet. But I guess that's just going to be saved for my glorious return to this game someday. Okay, so looks like even despite that back attack, ooh, maybe not actually. Yeah, this lead keeps getting smaller and smaller. Although No Cash did get a particularly bad back attack when you get the lone Chimera, he's gonna cast Blaze. He's gonna cast it twice before you get to run away.
Yeah, the single Chimera is much more dangerous than the double Chimera. Double Chimeras, I think, just attack twice, or you get 2 total attacks. But yeah, like Vic was saying, the single Chimera blazes twice, and Blaze, if you're not careful, and your guys aren't high enough, don't have enough life, enough HP, then you can just die.
Alright, looks like a friendly-ish walk on the way out, maybe? I always hesitate to say something, because something always happens whenever I do. Guaranteed. I don't know if you were around earlier, basically every time I described like the worst back attack you can get, one of them got it.
Nice. Perfect, perfect.
Hey, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's back 2 back attacks for both players. There you go.
I should just do the same thing during the 4-man race and then just take data on who got owned the most. And see who my commentary just really affects. Alright, so we got Nurm, he just left. He falls out the tower, but gets caught in an airship, and they land perfectly.
Got that 600 viewer hype.
Yeah. We've had some very gracious raids hosts, I think, from Puexel and I think PJ. Some sick raids from them as well. Good raids, so thank you very much again for that. I'm also proud of the fact that I think we pulled 300 or so before any of that happened. So people are obviously excited for this as well. Yeah, looks like No Cash did not make it out unscathed.
Yeah,
sorry, buddy.
That's okay. I was just thinking, like, 15, 20 seconds apart, right after the fight. Same walk on the way down, and it's, probably about a minute behind now. But that's the way it was all the game. I think we've swapped leads like half dozen times by now.
Yeah, definitely.
That just goes to show the power of encounters in this game. So if you get just a couple of bad back attacks, it just burns through your time.
Yep. And this ultimately becomes one of the more frustrating aspects of grinding out PB attempts in this game, because you can have, as mentioned before, perfect execution, but not necessarily good luck, and it can be frustrating. Although we've already seen enough world records with perfect execution and honestly pretty crappy luck, and they keep still PBing. So it's quite a wonder what the times these runners can actually achieve if the game could ever be nice to anybody. Which is probably never going to happen. But, maybe one day we will see the God luck run. That'll be 308. I don't know. Who knows?
Man, that'd be amazing. So now we get the first of many airship cutscenes. This game seems to think that cutscenes with guys running frantically around an airship, improving it, are very entertaining.
Yeah, I want to say there's 3, and because of the sealed cave skip later, you get 2 back to back.
Yeah, I think they're a minute apart or something.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Lots of cutscenes. Anyway, now that Nurm's out of it, he's going to go grab his hovercraft and head to Fabule Castle, which has just like we grabbed the fire sword out of a box or out of a chest, this castle also has a monster in a box that gives you, or that drops a weapon that is very handy, which is the drain spear. Which, if you equip it, it drops your agility significantly, I think, but it has pretty good attack power. So, what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna dupe that, and then once we get Edge has an ability that allows you to throw stuff for damage. So we'll dupe it, and then Edge is just going to be like throwing these things for some pretty good damage.
Yeah, it's an absolute detour. Like this is a time sink in some ways, depending on how you think about it. But the damage it's going to be able to do when thrown a bunch is going to absolutely make up for it. So this is a detour that just needs to happen. The goal here is basically for Rydia to kill all of these enemies with one Titan cast, so what's mandatory is that you just need her to live. And then hopefully during that Titan cast, you will dupe Kain's weapon hand, much like you duped the cat claws earlier or the shields earlier, so that you can get essentially an infinite amount to throw. But it looks like Nurm's turns were off, or maybe that jump was accidental. I don't know.
Yeah, I assume Nurm expected Cecil's turn to come first, and so he wanted to just cover Rydia. But Kain decided, because he was a higher level, that he should instead go first, and so it ended up being a jump, and so Nurm's going to have to dupe Kain's weapon slot.
Yeah.
Probably during one of these encounters.
It's not the end of the world, but he'll eat some time lost for having to do it at a place you normally wouldn't have to do it. This cave is also home to bats as well. You can get 6 bats and get owned by that, so hopefully that does not happen to any of our boys here. It looks like No Cash will be completely set up for this dupe. He's on Kain's turn, so he'll be able to get that done, no problem. What Nurm's going to do here up at the shop is do a little bit of purchasing for Ruby here. 1 ice shield, or an almost
2 ice shields.
Yeah. And an ice brand and a blizzard spear here as well. There's actually been a ton of work done on what is optimal for Edge later on. He's going to be our boy later, not right now. And so it was a question of how or what weapon was going to be best suited to kill people. My god.
There it is. You just had to
worse.
mention. You just had to mention it. It's only 4. 4 isn't too bad. I mean, it sucks. It's obviously not as bad as 6 bats, though.
But yeah, there's been a ton of work involved in like what weapon is best to get to throw, and like what does the most damage versus takes how much time to get. And enough work has been put in for seemingly the Drain Spear to be the best. Now, some people enjoy their stuff. So what has come up again, it's been tested before, but it came up again, is the notion of getting the Excalibur and throwing that instead. People are familiar with that. You have to go to the Land of Summons to get the Rat Tail, and then go to the Underground and get it made and stuff. Which all takes a ton of time, although the Excalibur does a lot of damage, but that's pretty much slower by about a minute or so, maybe a little bit less, and could get optimized, who knows, but these guys are pros right now. They're going to stick with what they know works, and then, but maybe you could see a marathon run or some other, or just runs in general, start picking that up someday. Who knows? Who knows? You never know with any speed game. Otherwise, the main job here is just like anywhere else. Try to get through unscathed. And Nurm's walk was mostly okay, except for those bats, I think.
Yeah, that was the only bad one. And I forget which battle it was, but on just one of the random battles, Nurm did dupe Kain's weapon slot.
Yeah,
so he is set up. He is set up for that.
With no cash.
Looks like nobody's gonna get through out of this unscathed.
The great equalizer. At least I was fair this time.
Yeah.
The same exact one.
This cave is easily the worst. I hate obviously back attacks and surprise attacks are always bad, but getting them in this cave are the worst just because you know that you're about to get edge, and once you get him, he just totally trivializes surprise attacks and back attacks. So like it's always in your mind. Like if I could just get through. Oh my god.
One step. One step. You gotta say it too, right? One step before getting edge.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't mean for that one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry.
You were trying to be fair. I heard you. That was nice of you.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's just
even
the
I
worst one
feel
step
bad
away.
about that one. Oh my god.
That's okay. That's part of it, but it happens. Jeez.
Dang.
Yeah, that's just rough.
So this is finally the part of the run where you can kind of feel a little bit better about the kind of things that just happened to No Cash. You get Edge in your party, and you can equip 2 Cat Claws on him, which give him a ton of agility, and he's already super fast from being a ninja, so there's only a small handful of back attacks that he won't be able to run away from for the rest of the game. Otherwise, you lose frames from the message, or seconds, but he's pretty much safe. And then I'm sure, God knows where they carry it, but they'll have a large stack of those for Edge to have a good old time with. The game does not hate No Cash. The game hates everybody who plays the game. So there's that.
Yeah, it's a very hateful creation.
But for the most part, walks are just significantly less dangerous and just nothing easy to talk about. I think if he gets 2 ogres, he'll get beat down before being able to run away. I can't recall if there's another battle here where that can happen.
Yeah, mad ogres.
I think 2
Not
panthers.
what you want to
I'm not
see.
sure.
Yeah, you can't run from the black cats either.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you get 2 of them, if you get 2 of them and something else with them, then you can run away, but you can't run from 2 black cats.
Gotcha. You might have noticed there was not really a need for much inventory management. They did some at Lugay, that's good. And then they're going to be able to do a ton here coming up with the fight, quote-unquote fight with Edge's parents whenever they finally arrive. As it's essentially mostly a cutscene. You don't really have to do much of anything except wait out their turns. Looks like Nurm is safety saving before Ruby because since his levels are off, he could be seeing a weird Ruby fight that's just they probably won't be able to predict, so he's keeping it safe. We'll see if No Cash does the same thing or not. But you basically just have a large cutscene here from which to get your inventory. It's pretty much, I want to say, like the last time you do like a major overhaul of your inventory. Obviously, there's some management still left, but you can get a heck of a lot done here.
I think it's the last one you really need to do. All get sent down to the Hades.
They lose no time by going in their inventory during animations. If the animation finishes and they're still in the inventory, then you're halting the battle. But these guys are fast enough to get it done during Fire 1s, Fire 2s, and dialogues. The inventory should be where everybody wants it to be by the time this cutscene's over.
And now you see Nerv's got a 55 quote-unquote drain spears. It's really 65,000. But game's not going to be displaying that large of a number.
I think this cutscene also goes to show like just how much thought is put into like really, really small stuff. That really just saves time. Like, he could have spent the time equipping Cecil's sword and shield in the menu, and same with Kain's spear, but it doesn't have to be done. He could do it here in the battle and not lose any time doing so. And it's just a way of seeing that a lot of small optimizations matter as well, especially between like two really, really good runners. Yeah, so we saw the number 55. What you end up doing if you dupe the slot and then equip and unequip, you'll see that empty slot, and you'll have some mod 65,000 items. If you equip that slot again, of whatever that is. So Edge now has 255 drain spears you can throw here for every single boss fight coming up, or just about every single.
It's gonna be a grand old time.
Yeah, so we'll see what Nerm does here, because Ruby is actually quite optimized and really, 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 really fast. But I wonder what his levels are going to do to this.
That'll be interesting. For the most part, you'll see Edge is going to throw drain spears. Kain's going to jump, and Cecil is going to attack to a certain degree. Eventually, it will stop, because if you kill Ruby with a physical attack, depending on what his remaining HP was, you can trigger a long, just unnecessary dialogue. And sometimes, if you can sneak it in, if you cast ice spells while Ruby's cloak is closed, like you see on Nerms, or was the case, if you cast ice on him, then it'll heal him, but it'll deal quite a bit of damage to him when it's open. And that's still a very good fight for Nerm.
Yeah,
so if you can,
fast.
yeah. So if you can time it, and I think with normal levels, Nerm's got it down. You can sneak in some ice 2s while his cloak's open. And I think it does like 2,000 or 2,500 damage or so. So it's definitely nice.
Yeah, Kain has some insane damage rolls there. So usually your most optimal fight gets ready to cast Ice 2 1 or 2 times for a little bit extra damage. And you can get this fight under a minute. But it looks like Nerm just owned up Ruby quite easily regardless. His damage rolls were quite nice. And yeah, it's something about physically attacking Ruby when he's at a really critical hit point level that he'll trigger his dialogue. So you don't necessarily need the count damage per se, but you want to have a general feeling of when he's close to death, so that you make sure you kill Ruby with a jump or a throw or an ice 2 cast or whatever it is. It's a good fight for no cash as well.
That will be an enjoyable experience.
One thing we can say about this game is levels, turn orders, and formations, and how all these things affect each other are not that well understood. You can see results and like plan from there, but like just weird things happen, and I don't think anybody has a super strong understanding on that stuff. And so it becomes kind of ironic when your guys are technically stronger, and yet it can screw you up so much. So we're gonna be pretty much in Cutscene City for a while. There is one huge thing coming up, I guess two, when we get to the Giant, but until then, It's a lot of run around. We're gonna get the Falcon here. That's what it's called, right? And then go to the castle, get the Falcon equipped, run over to the sealed cave. But remember, we have the Dark Crystal already, so we don't actually have to do all of it. So then you run back and get even more cutscenes, and then you leave, and then you go to Mysidia where you see more cutscenes, and fly to the moon where you see more cutscenes, and you fly back from the moon where you see more cutscenes. It's, what I'm trying to say is this is a very, very entertaining stretch of the game, and you know, we're glad you're here with us.
Yeah, this whole sequence with Sid is even funnier when you do the sealed cave skip. Because basically you come back and, oh hey, you know, Sid is still alive despite the fact that he jumped off an airship and blew himself up with dynamite. And so he basically, the gist of this cutscene is, you know, you're going through it and your airship can't actually fly over the lava right now. So Sid is spiffing it up so that I can do so. But since like he's basically been in bed and resting up since that whole incident, he ends up getting tired, and at the end of this cutscene, like he collapses. He's like, "Oh my god, you know, I'm gonna have to rest again." And so the theory being, it's like, okay, and then you go to the sealed cave, which, you know, will take, I don't know how long it would take if you do it casually. Probably no cash being trolled by some dwarves here. You know, it'll take probably, you know, at least 10 minutes, I would assume. Probably more than that. But then you come back, and it's like, okay, well, Sid's had some time to rest. But since we skipped the sealed cave, like Sid collapses, he's tired, and then you're gone for like 30 seconds, or you're gone for probably like a minute, and you come back and he's perfectly healthy again. and he goes off and fixes your airship again. It's like, it's just kind of silly.
It's almost believable, because the times I unfortunately had to do the sealed cave because I forgot the crystal. You go and get the Avenger from the sealed cave, and then you go to the sealed cave. I think the two of those combined was something around 15 minutes or something like that. And it's like, okay, fine, but 30 seconds, yeah, not so much. Yeah, so the game checks on that tile if you have a dark crystal in your inventory. So under normal circumstances, you wouldn't when you came in, and then you'd get it, fight the demon wall, come back out, and you would trigger this cutscene. But since we already have it from warping in and the crystal for some reason still being there, all you gotta do is trigger the tile because you have it, and then you don't have to do it. So it's a nice little skip. Sealed cave is, I don't think anyone likes it. So. Except for maybe one guy I know, but other than that, it's a nice thing to skip. It just means you just are watching that much more cutscenes.
So something you saw Nerm do and No Cash is about to do after that first cutscene, basically in between the two cutscenes, when you're exiting, or when you're casting exits to leave the Dwarf Castle, No Cash just did it. You take off the strength armlet from Kain. And the reason for that is that when the character leaves your party and then comes back, the equipment that they're wearing is always set. So whatever they have on them when they leave, they're not going to have it when they come back. So we want to keep that strength armlet. So we have to take it off of Kain so that we can keep it around for the later fights.
Yeah, the strength ring is very, very nice. The multipliers it gives to Kain, the one who uses it, is just very, very good. And you're actually in quite a bit of trouble if you don't have it. You can, of course, make do without any one given item for the most part, but it's one of those things you really, really, really want. At least the nice part about these airship breaks, if you're the runner, is that these ones have no text for the most part, so you can actually walk away and the cutscenes will still advance. It's short, so you're not getting a whole lot done. It's something. Alright, so we've equipped the airship now. It can fly over lava, and now it has a big old drill in the front. So you can drill through a mountain. Yeah. And we can get ourselves back to the overworld. We spent enough time down here, I guess. Then we're gonna see some revelations. Should probably take the time to note here that when they do get their new revelation here in a couple of minutes, the colors, they flash quite vibrantly. So we got to give the old classic seizure warning here. If that's something you're not too into, then make sure to look away. Not during this part, but once something starts coming out of the water, you may not want to be there. But, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that we get the second rendition of the prophecy.
Yeah. I only wish our boy Roth were here to say it in his Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. It's kind of funny how a community, like the people who run the game, really shape that community. Like, it makes sense, of course, but like among all of us, like the Arnold thing has like really caught on and is like a mainstay, and the Bat thing, you know, and all that stuff. And it's kind of interesting to look, you know, before us, you know, when like it was El Magus Dusler and Nerm and Crumps and whatnot, and Obda and their thing were the eggs and whatever else. It's just kind of weird, just like how we're like a 6-month difference or whatever. Like we're all kind of into our own stuff. Okay. Well, Nerm has the introduction of the giant whale here, which is a spaceship.
Lunar whale.
Yeah. That's gonna allow him to fly to one of the 2 moons orbiting this planet. We'll see if anyone's safety saved here. LCC might have taught them a real lesson about that. I'm not sure. But our boy LCC has died on this moonwalk before, so we don't want that to happen.
I think it's the encounter with 2 red worms.
Yeah.
They're fast enough to attack you, and they deal a good amount of damage. First thing we do is we make a stop at the Naming Way Cave. One of the duders here has a very useful item that we can buy, which are the elixirs. So we're basically just gonna spend the remainder of our gil, or GP in this game, just to buy as many elixirs as we can. The elixir is just like in any other game, just fully restore your HP and MP. So that's very useful for the Zeromus battle, and it can be helpful in other situations too, with 4 Fiends fight.
Yep, it's the last shopping trip for the run. You just dump all your millions of gold for 50 elixirs. And that's gonna carry you through. Ideally, they won't come close to using that many, but you want to have them just in case for sure. Yeah, this is definitely one of the slower parts of the game. We finally just got through a bunch of cutscenes, and while we're technically playing the game, it's really just the walk back and forth until they get to the next dungeon, like true dungeon, which is going to be actually quite intense. I suppose that kind of makes up for it. We won't see a ton of action at this specific moment, but there will be a ton coming up quite soon. From here, it's just a matter of not getting wrecked by that one back attack that can get you.
I think it goes from like the most boring part of the game to literally the most edge on your seat exciting part. Like it's pretty fun and crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I would completely agree. This upcoming segment of the game is often what makes or breaks runs. Like, I've seen a number of runs from both of these guys where they're even behind by, you know, a minute or 2 minutes, and then we'll come back in PB by another minute or something like that. Because this portion, you can get owned by RNG or get really helped out, but also your execution matters quite a bit as well. I dare say probably the most important area of the game, execution-wise. It looks like I had a little double red worm scare there for no cash, but it was normal. So.
Not a back attack, so
Yeah.
that is very good.
So we saw Nurm. He entered the palace there, and we pick up a Lunarian Fusoya, who tells us what's up, and he's going to accompany us back to the planet here so we can deal with our villain problem.
Everyone's favorite Moon Man.
He does have one of the best death sprites we've all ever seen, as he becomes less of a man and more of a beard.
Puddle beard.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible.
It's true. I do still have a copy of Nurm's notes that says "Get the epic bearded man," and in parentheses says, "I don't remember writing this." And I'm like, "Sure, dude. Whatever. You don't have to hide, man. It's okay."
That's pretty amazing.
Why don't we just take this time then to reiterate, like, the people who really put this together. So this was a baby of catastrophic fours. He really wanted to put a tournament together and put in a lot of work to see if there was ooh, shit. Excuse my language, but
There's
Nurm's in some real trouble here. All right, he made it.
There's the red worm. Fights.
Yeah, so you can see just how dangerous they could be there. Luckily, he made it out. But anyway, getting back to it, this is Catastrophic's brainchild here, and he really wanted to make this happen. And I know Roth jumped on that right away. And the two of them really. Oh wow, that's really bad luck for Nurm.
Jeez, two of them.
Dang, dude.
That's worthy of a dang dude for sure.
Yeah.
That's
so,
rough.
oh man, that is brutal, man.
Definitely not what you want to see.
Not ideal at all. But yeah, we want to shout out to them too for putting this together, and for the 8 runners who signed up, and actually technically more than that signed up, the 8 runners who participated, and put in the time to make this happen. And now we got the fruit of that labor. So a sick race here between No Cash, and Nurm. Okay, so we see on Nurm's screen here that the giant has awakened here. He's supposedly going to destroy the whole world with its ring of fire, I guess. And we're going to try to do something about that. And this is the dungeon that's going to... We could see all kinds of things happen here. We could see some really excellent play. We could see some good or bad luck. We could see an intense lead change or something. Who knows? A lot can happen here.
Yeah, there's a lot of very important battles that take place in this dungeon, and not even necessarily the battles, but like, so we're gonna do a grind fight, which involves finding a certain encounter, a certain battle, and there is some manipulation that we know where basically you can save and reset, and based on your first battle, you know, like exactly. Essentially when you're going to get the battle, the desired battle, which is a searcher and 2 beamers. It's entirely possible that you get the encounter on the walk to the save point, so at that point you don't actually have to save and reset at all, and that will of course save time, just because obviously the resetting will take time, and then typically it'll take like 3 or 4 battles to actually get the desired battle after the save reset. So that's just a part of RNG that could just wreck you. And then the actual battle is very, you need to be able to execute it well. And we'll talk more about that when our runners get into the actual battle.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that's going to go into this, and that will just take us some time to get there. Oh, I see. I've gotten a very important message from our Skype call. Okay, and I want to take a slight break from this epic race, especially while we're in cutscene. As I'm being told, it's a specific Canadian man's birthday. His name is Kobahi. And so I want us to take the time here to wish our boy Kobahi here a very, very happy birthday, and I hope he has a good day coming up ahead of him. Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, dude. Can't wait to see you next week, celebration time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we see Nurm here setting up for the fight. He's gonna get a specific formation set up and some specific equips. He can't get it yet. He's got some rooms to get through first. But he just wants to make sure he's set up for it already. And so that he can get ready for it. I just lost my train of thought, obviously, if you couldn't tell. But this fight is definitely one of the most precise things that exists in this game. You can get it done. Like, you can get this fight done, no problem. But to get it done really, really fast, that takes a heck of a lot of skill. And so we'll see what our racers here come up with. And you can get it down too, but if you get like a back attack or a strike first or surprise attack, that can change up your variables as well. This fight is so precise, if one person goes off turn, then you might be screwed.
Yeah, it could be very bad. And then, since Nurm's levels are different, we could see some things go not the way Nurm intends it, but we'll see. I'm not entirely sure if that will happen, but the ATBs might be off from what he's used to. And there's actually difference. I'm sure people have noticed this, or I'm sure you. The commentators have pointed out, but there's frequently different battle formations that people will use, and I think Nurm and No Cash will be using a different battle formation, unless No Cash is not using Nurm's. I'm not entirely sure, but there is so Nurm has a very, very fast grind fight formation, but I think unless things have changed, it doesn't work too well. So Nurm just got into the Searcher 2 Beamer battle. We'll see if it's so the Searcher can either summon a D Machine, which is what we want, or Horseman. If there's a Horseman, he'll just run, and this was on the way, so it's not really a huge time loss.
All right,
but
we're in there.
it's a D Machine. So there
we
we
go.
go.
So this
That's
is huge.
pretty ideal right there.
This is exactly what we want.
Yeah, getting it on the walk and it being a regular battle are two key things.
Yeah, and it looks like that No Cash is using the Nurm formation.
Oh, nice.
We want our turns to go a very specific way. You weak the dragon, you have the next person attack it to kill it, you have the next 2 people throw a life on the dead body, you have the next person attack the Searcher and repeat the process over again. And if you do it well enough, the dragons don't do anything to you, and you get through this fight super duper quickly. Now, the reason why they want to throw a life on the carcass, if you will, is because it basically counts as you killing it again, even though you didn't do anything, because you just revived something at 0 vitality, so it dies again, if I recall correctly. So for every D Machine they kill, they actually kill 3. So there's something I missed here. Feel free to add to that.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly why it happens.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, No Cash has a battle. We'll see if it is. No Cash got the Horseman, so he's gonna have to run. And he's right next to the save point, so probably just save and reset and try to do the demanipulation.
Yeah, so we have notes on that, thankfully.
Yeah. Yeah, so the number of D-machines you fight is kind of up to the runner's discretion. I think optimally what we do is kill 15, which if you get the double life strat means you only have to kill 5 D-machines, which is very fast. I think the grind fight is down to probably something like 4 minutes or so, maybe faster.
Yeah. Did you catch what happened to Nurm there?
To Nurm. No, I
don't think anything happened to Nurm. He got. I think Rosa got attacked beforehand, so she died a little earlier. But he was able to recover that pretty easily with a Cure 4 and an Elixir Alpha. So yeah.
Rydia went too fast. So if yeah, so you want your whoever attacks a D-machine needs to go after Fusia. What happens is if whoever you have attacking jumps the gun and hops in front of Fusia and just attacks, D-machines will counter with a physical attack and they can deal a lot of damage. And depending on who it hits, there can be varying effects. Like if the D-machine hits Fusia and kills him, you're kind of in a very bad way, because then he's not going to cast weak, so you have to life and elixir Fusia, and that entire time the D-machine is going to be casting fire on you, and it's very damaging. So in general, if someone hops in front of Fusia, it's usually bad, but if they kill Fusia, then it's not pretty. And that's what ended up happening to Nurm. And this is the formation is such that if you do everything the same, if you execute very well, get your commands in quickly. I think there's a couple of times when you have to wait. You can't just input it immediately. Things shouldn't go wrong. Like the person who's attacking after Fusia won't jump in front of him. But again, this could be an issue with the ATBs with Nurm's levels being different than normal.
You can begin to see why this segment of the game changes everything, whether it's a PB attempt or it's a race, because you could have the greatest pace in the world and not find the fight, or you could get into the fight and someone jumps the gun and something happens. You know, either your fight takes way longer because you got to recover and heal, or you straight die. And so a lot of things can happen here. Now, what you're seeing Nurm do is he got his sets of D-machines, so he's going to kill off every single party member in this fight here, except for Edge. And Edge is going to get all of that glorious experience from all those D-machines being killed. Yeah, so as Magus is referencing here, both guys had their party members jump the gun here. And so it's just one of those things that can happen with this formation, as he's mentioned before. It makes it a little bit riskier. Now, when things go well for this formation, things go really, really well for this formation. And it goes very fast. But there are other formations that you will get hit by the dragons by fire every time, so it makes it a little slower, but you don't run the risk of your turn getting out of whack and you dying. So depending on what kind of runner you are, you may want to just go for broke and see what happens, or you may want to take it safe because you're almost at the end of your run and you don't want to die. So it just kind of depends. And now you'll really see why we care about duping all those drain spears. Right now that Edge is at a beastly level, he's going to do a lot of damage because throw is based upon his level and the attack power of the weapon, I believe. So it's going to be quite good here. Quite good.
Yeah. So so this is the same kind of idea as before killing party members off against bosses, so that so that people or characters that are rejoining your party also gain the XP. So right now, Kain or Edge leveled up. I think Nurm has him at level 49. And another added benefit there is that Kain is going to come back again, and he'll also have gotten that XP, so he'll also be at a nice level.
So we're at the 4 Fiends fight, which is probably the hardest boss fight of this entire game. It looks like Rydia got killed off, which is unfortunate. But it should not really affect the nature of the fight. The 4 Fiends here, there's a weird mechanic where basically the first 2 Fiends, your Milon and Ruby, share a health pool. And you can actually kill them before they can switch to their next 2, as long as you drop their health past 0 before they can do that. Now, the only way that can happen is if you hit them with not direct attacks, so they're going to be reflecting spells off of themselves on the Ruby, because that will not trigger the counter that will have them change into a different form. And that takes a lot of precision in terms of like what they do. So they'll have to throw a specific number of darts, they'll have to get a couple of spells in from this wall here, and they'll also have to be really, really fast, because if that wall runs out before they cast their next spell, they'll just kill off their own party member. God knows what'll happen after that. This fight is very, very tough.
Yeah, it's just so exact with the damage, and you may have to do slightly different things just based on your damage rolls for. Or actually, I don't think people nuke anymore, do they? With Fusuya?
No, we do.
Is it just?
I do. Whenever
Everybody.
I do.
Everybody does, I think. There are a couple of schools of thought here where you nuke and then fire 3. Now, just nuke and queue up Ice 3 because you can do a bunch of damage with fire 2. And even from there, depending on your equipment, you can just nuke all day as well. You don't even have to necessarily Ice 3. So it kind of just depends.
Right. So this,
Very
so
nice.
Nuke has that was a good fight for Nerm, yeah. Nuke has a damage range such that, I mean, depending on what the first one did, you saw Nerm at the end there direct casted Nuke on Ruby, just because he knew that based on the damage he had done, there's a very low, if any, chance for it not to deal enough damage. Because if it hadn't dealt enough damage to kill Ruby, it would have triggered the change to Cagnazzo. And that's when it switches to the next, when it does that transition to Cagnazzo, they gain more HP. So even if he was out, even if like he had 1 HP, if he didn't die, he's gonna change and he's gonna get back, I think, to like 57,000 or something. I'm not entirely. That seems high, but it's some number like that. You don't want to trigger that, especially because they attack really the next 2 Fiends attack really fast, and you don't want to.
And they hit like trucks too.
Yeah, you can get through, but it's not fun.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to happen. To switch him over to Cagnazzo, that's a hard part of the battle to get through. It's possible, but it is not easy. It's not even easy for people who are really good at the game. They control you pretty bad.
As far as CPU is concerned, that where Nerm is at right now, the fight's quite simple. You dart the healer, basically, and then you queue up a Meteor, and while Meteor is being cast, you continually dart the boss. What'll happen is if you kill both little ones before you kill the big one, then the big one basically one-shots your party members one by one. But the fight works out in such a way that by the time Meteor is cast, you either have already thrown enough darts, or you throw your dart right after it happens, so you can kill it off.
Alright, got through. So
Yeah, you did a good job, man.
yeah, I got really unlucky because he popped Rydia on the first turn, and then I had to kind of play it by ear. Normally, when I select Ice 3, I hadn't done enough.
Yeah, no cash is taking it really safe.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's going a bit slower, but he's gonna survive. So
Gonna get through. Yeah, the big issue, like Big was saying, was that if you because we are reflecting spells off of wall, and you can typically get like 2 nukes off before it runs out. But if you happen to to be going a little slow, and your wall runs out, and you end up nuking the person that you're supposed to be reflecting off of, then you're gonna have to scramble to recover. And depending on how much life, just based on like Ruby's glares and everything, depending on how much life your other party members have, you could just die. Like I've had it happen where like I'll nuke Edge, and then I only have Fusuya, and he doesn't have very much life, and then he just gets glared to death. So the safer way to do that is just re-up your walls a lot and only reflect, and not do any like what Nerm did to direct cast nuke to kill him. The really safe way is just keep reflecting off, so that way you don't run the risk of triggering the next transformation.
Yeah, there are a handful of runners who they have no problems doing that. It's just like, let me just reflect one extra spell, just in case, because you really don't want to trigger the next Fiends. So
No, I felt it was same thing's been happening to me a lot lately. The damage that Fusoya did, he did like 8,500 damage on his first nuke, so he turned him prematurely, so it screwed up my whole turn order. So I had to, play it safe.
Are you using rune armlets now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what's doing it.
That's why. So like usually we want to expect that to happen with a rune armlet, that Fusoya is just gonna freaking murder him, and if not, Rydia will murder him and then switch him over. I think that's what Nerm does, or would have done rather, if Rydia didn't get murdered. But again, it's just a big part of why this fight is so difficult. It's very precise. You can't mess up, or it means death for the most part, and you have to play a lot by ear because damage rolls matter. So these things do happen. When you made it through.
Yeah, I did it because, like I said, playing damage by ear, and Rosa got one-shotted, so she didn't get any slows off, so he was just beyond extra fast. I just couldn't keep up.
Okay, so No Cash is going to get through this CPU fight, no problem. Again, it's just throw a bunch of spears, cast Meteor, and it should all work out. While Nerm gets through some cutscenes before he flies out to the last dungeon.
What's about reflecting and triggering? If you the reason that we're reflecting is to keep him from counterattacking. Enemies only counterattack direct attacks. So if you reflect a spell, he won't counterattack. And in this case, the counterattack is what converts him or switches him from Rubicante to Cagnazzo. So that's why we're doing that.
Yeah, that's why damage matters. If you go too much, because obviously we do plenty of direct attacks on him, at least in the early goings. So if you push that too much, then you'll get the next Fiends, and you really don't want that. In the best case scenario, it's a large time loss, and in the worst case scenario, you die. So it's something you really just don't want to screw with. There's not a lot going on at this point. Nerm and No Cash have a long walk to make through the Lunar Subterrain and through the descent. They will do a little bit of menuing. They'll pick up one item, and they may be duping Gugners from Kain. I'm not sure if they will, which are just a bit more powerful than the Drain Spears. But otherwise, we're just basically biding our time until we get to the last boss here. And our boy Kata does know how to get through the 4 Fiends, all 4 of them. He knows it so well, he did it twice.
Just for the swag.
For the swag.
Four Fiends wasn't enough. He wanted to do eight of them. Was it 3?
Was it?
I thought it was.
No, I think it was twice, and then I got the name Kata 12 Fiends. Kata 12 Fiends because I did the 4 throughout the game, and then 2 more times during that.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Catastrophic 12 Fiends, indeed. I like it. I like it. So, No Cash will be embarking on this walk soon. Whereas, for the most part, Nerm is pretty safe.
Yeah, this walk is pretty pretty easy until you get down to the next section. So this is like the I don't really know how to describe it. So this is like the cave basically, and then eventually you'll end up into a different area with different tile set. Once you switch to that, once you get into that next area, the enemies that you can fight are usually faster than you, so they'll depending on what they are, they can either attack you and possibly make you waste time needing to heal, or they'll just waste time casting walls and all that stuff. Casting counts. Although I think you can get airmans in this area as well.
I almost called them float eyes. I almost called them float eyes because they killed my run too, right? But yeah, you can get some fatal eyes in here, which takes some time. I think that's probably the worst of it in the subterranean. Otherwise, we got a straight shot through the dungeon. It's actually not that convoluted, especially when you're not picking up any treasure chests, except for one, which is going to be the protect ring. So what we'll see is the chest that's directly on the way. You don't go out of your way at all for it. It's going to help protect Edge because he needs the defense. And you'll probably see a bunch of menuing around that point to set up the party for the final fight. Are you guys gonna do Gungner, or are you gonna play it by ear, or what?
I'm gonna probably just stick with Train. It seems to be easier fight for me, especially with counting damage. Not there yet.
It's all good. And Gungner, which is the spear Kain comes back with, is slightly stronger than the Drain Spear. So you can spend the extra time to dupe it. If you are dead set on duping it, then you're probably going to lose time. There are other occasions where you have to run from battle using the spell Smoke, and while that animation's going on, you can do the dupe. And then since you're going to menu anyway, you can just finish out the dupe there without really losing much, and it does, maybe a couple hundred extra damage, which can make or break sometimes. But the Zeromus fight does follow a consistent cycle, and the damage you do is important. So, there's really runner's preference on the pick. As well as we do have a couple of runners who do go the Excalibur route, which we talked about probably like an hour ago, which again will change up what you do as well. But I think I'm going to withhold how much damage that does until we're actually fighting.
Yeah, I think Gungnir does, I want to say like 200 more damage. I think Drain Spears are about 42, and then Gungnirs are 44 or something or so. Yeah,
I think the Gungnir is 92 strength, and the Drain Spears are 88, I think. I could be wrong, it could be 84 and 88. I think it's 88, and 92. So it does right at 200 damage more, which sometimes is just enough to get whatever you need.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so No Cash will be starting up his walk here. And looks like Nerm is going to be entering the descent very shortly. So what we're going to really hope for... Maybe I shouldn't say this. Someone else talk about what encounters he wants and doesn't want.
So... There are a few different encounters in this area. What we want to see are behemoths. Behemoths you can just run away from, no problem. The first couple screens you can encounter red dragons. We don't want those. Evil Mask, which Nerm just got, are kind of annoying because they'll wall twice. If you fail to run away, they'll just kind of wreck you. But you generally, if you don't forget to run away, you'll get by after 2 walls. Red dragons, if there's one of them, two is fine. I think they just attack. If you have one, they'll use an ability called Heat Ray, which if you run into enough of them, you'll need to stop and menu and heal with elixirs. So, ideally, we do not want any of them, but the fewer the better, obviously. But if like like Vic was saying, if you do run into red dragons, it's faster instead of just trying to run away. It's faster to use smoke from edge. And then, since smoke has a very long, and you see Nerm doing it right now, smoke has a very long animation, you can just dupe Kain's slot. Kain's weapon slots during the animation. And since he did do that dupe, he's stopping the menu here and finish the dupe on the Gungnir, and then just change up equipment a bit to be the final the equipment he's going to use for the final battle.
Yeah, quite optimized basically for the highest protection possible for edge, so he can live, keep throwing, because his gear does not affect his throw damage, and all the damage equipment for Kain, because he's going to be swinging his that will set up his turns exactly the way he wants them. But ultimately, if you're just looking at the HP values of everybody, you can probably guess which party members are actually going to survive the entire boss fight, and which one not.
Well, hopefully they'll survive the entire fight.
Yeah, I mean, 24-43 is not bad, but you just never know. Well, I guess we can probably wait on that a little bit, but yeah,
I think
can't
they're
get damage rolled.
just where they need to be to probably make it through.
Yeah. Anytime
it's very
in the
rare.
23s, yeah, anytime he's in the 23s, you get real nervous. I mean, he's in the 24s, he's by no means 100% safe, like at all. But a little bit more comforting, a little bit. Honestly, I think Nerm's walk was good. Not the best.
Yeah, I think it was
Not
just
the best
the
by
one,
any means.
the one red dragon, and then one evil mask, and then now we're just getting mines and breaths, which either attack or breaths will use peep twice, which is great.
Okay, so
Doesn't do anything, just waste
we
time.
have final cutscenes for Nerm for about 5 minutes, and then he's gonna get into his final boss fight, which is gonna be quite the show. Zeromus is another boss fight that's pretty precise. The good news about Zeromus is he's, for the most part, absolutely predictable. So you just kind of keep your level head. You know exactly what to do at any given time. So unless you get damage rolled, you should be fine. And we'll talk. Well, there is probably one other scenario you can get screwed on too, but we'll wait till we get to that fight. In the meantime, No Cash is getting there. He's gonna get his safety save on. It's a huge time loss, like 10-15 minutes if you died at Zeromus, but this is a race, so it can happen, it has happened, and you definitely want to get that save in. Get those Medio guesses in.
People doing guesses for Fusina's video.
The best part is you can absolutely guess 9999 and totally be wrong, like a lot. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, the whole guessing thing is really because when you do Die Hard, you end up, kind of warping here right after the Golbez fight, and instead of Fusia, you end up with Sid. And Sid's, I think, wisdom is what black magic uses. Not very high, not very high. So, like they go through the same battle AI, but when Sid casts Medio, it's not quite as damaging as when Fusia does.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Let's see how No Cash's block goes here. So again, this is just what you don't want. These fights used to be insanely dangerous because we would sit there and try to run, and the dragon would get like 4 attacks off, and so we were kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you sat and healed after every red dragon fight, you lost time. If you didn't heal and you run into another red dragon, you might die because they get so many attacks off. So it used to just be terrible. With Smoke making a comeback here for those fights, it's not exactly like it's super fast now or anything like that. Obviously, the spell still takes time to go, but it's safer at the very least. So the time loss is more minimal. But
Yeah, you actually saw, like the red dragons will attack or can attack twice, in like one attack. So like they'll attack once and then attack again, and then damage will show up. You saw No Cash actually ran away in the middle of the double attack. So the red dragon hit Edge, and then they ran away. So since he never completed the attack, no one actually took any damage from that, which is some weird thing. I don't even understand how that's a thing in this game. But
all right, good luck, Nerd.
All right, good luck.
See you when you're done. And No Cash is in the last room here, so he'll be approaching his fight as well. But yeah, let's gear up for this Zeromus fight, man. Should be a good show.
It'll be good. Zeromus is a fun fight to watch. You can throw it on theater mode and have crazy background effects.
So maybe, I don't know, should we hold off or do it now? Because it's a fight you probably want to watch without like blathering happening at the same time. I guess we could just do it now. So we got a couple of things going on. Edge is gonna throw a bunch of spears. Kain is gonna get berserked and hit with his spear really, really hard, ideally. And then Cecil will actually survive one round before he dies, so he can actually do a bunch of healing. Zeromus has a set pattern, and if you know that pattern, you kind of know what actions to queue up. So he will alternately throw, either big bangs or a black hole and a nuke, or he might shake. Obviously, we'll cycle these things in a very specific way, so these guys know what to do. And even if it looks real dicey, it might actually kind of be on purpose, or it might actually legitimately be a mistake. It's actually kind of hard to tell if you can't quite follow it, if you don't really know the fight at all. But it should be quite interesting. Now the Big Bang is the big troll here. The Big Bang's damage range is huge, and it can actually kill Edge in one shot if you're unlucky. And so that's pretty much the only scenario here where someone might have to do that walkover again. Otherwise, it should be pretty clear.
Even if Edge does get damage rolled, Nerm and No Cash are both very experienced in this game, and it is mouse speed 1. It can get dicey, but it's very much possible to recover from an Edge death. You basically just have to bide your time, heal with Kain until you have the opportunity to come back.
Get set up
so
here.
Now Nerm is beginning his fight.
Yeah, the first thing that you'll see Nerm is going to do after he uses the crystal and use Berserk is he's going to have Rydia either throw a Dancing Dagger or cast Ice Wand. Most likely he's going to use a Dancing Dagger. That's just to kind of mess around with Zeromus a little bit. It's going to mess with his intelligence stat, which is going to make his Big Bang spell do a little bit less damage.
Yeah, which is the only factor that allows Cecil to live through that first Big Bang. Now, the key here is that once he does proc that magic cast on Zeromus, he's going to nuke someone. We really just have to hope it's not on Cecil. Alright, so it's on Edge. Okay. So he will be able to throw an elixir on Edge before Zeromus gets his next turn. He might have been able to fit a dart in there, but it's not really worth the risk in the race. You can try to fit in some turns, but you might end up paying for it. What we should see here is Big Bang, and then both your attackers can keep going. Cecil will still be alive to heal everybody.
Okay, I'm jumping off for a second, so I'll talk to you guys in a few. Good luck, Nerm, in the middle.
Good luck,
No
No
Cash.
Cash.
Good luck, No Cash.
So you will have to take turns alternating healing and doing damage. If you can be ideal, Edge will basically throw every time that he can, and Kain will eventually basically get unberserked from the black hole, and then he'll do the bulk of the healing. It's not like it's a huge deal if Edge throws a heal, but that's just one less dart, and so that's some damage you could lose out on.
Yeah, so Zeromus has a few things that you can, like with his AI. There are a couple things you can skip. Usually, he will cast a virus. If you deal enough, you can deal enough damage to completely skip that phase, which Nerm did do. And you saw Zeromus just did a Big Bang Black Hole combination. It's actually possible to skip that as well. If you know, just depending on your damage, of course. In which case, Kain stays berserked a little longer and is able to do more damage. He wasn't able to do that, so he did get the black hole, but it's not a huge deal. You do want to skip the virus though. That's not something you really want to see.
The virus can kill off your party because they're probably already still low from the Big Bang, so that's typically a pretty big rip there. Now you might have noticed that Nerm is healing with an edge, even though I said you don't want to do that, and it's because he knows what's coming up is a nuke cast, which he wouldn't have otherwise had time to heal for. So we had to take that turn instead. So this fight actually feels very, very scary, and it can look very, very scary. Except for the fact that in most occasions, Zeromus's attacks are 100% predictable. And so even if it seems crazy, like they know what's going on, so they're going to be able to handle it just fine. Yeah, so we're seeing 46s from Edge gun here, when I feel like you'd probably be seeing 44s otherwise.
So No Cash is just starting up the fight. We'll see who he gets, or which one of his guys gets nuked. Hopefully, again, not Cecil.
Yeah, the risk with Cecil is since he's not around to heal, you gotta get Edge to heal since Kain's berserk. And if you do that, you run the risk of not doing enough damage to skip the virus. So it's very risky.
Unfortunately, No Cash's Cecil has so low HP, it's possible that he could not get nuked and still die from the Big Bang.
That's true.
And
you see a Medio from
Medio.
Nerm, so it's a GG for him basically. That Medio means Zeromus is on his last phase, and you gotta get 2 darts on him, maybe a bit more to kill him off. So you see he won't heal because he knows Medio's not gonna do enough damage anyway, so you're just gonna get it done. So congratulations to Nerm. He is the king of Final Fantasy IV this day.
3:15:02 or something. That is very good race time.
Well done. 3:15 in the race is very, very good.
So you saw,
Congratulations to Nerm.
yeah, congrats Nerm. That was a heck of a run. For No Cash, Rosa got nuked, which is pretty ideal. You want, as messed up as it sounds, you want one of the girls to get nuked, just because if they do, they don't do anything anyway, and you don't have to heal them. So you get the most damage output if Rosa or Rydia gets nuked.
Alright, I'm gonna interrupt a little bit here. Just so you guys know. I, personally, will not perish as long as there's evil in the hearts of people. Huff. Grr. Zer.
Okay, so let's finish out No Cash's fight here. It looks like he's doing just fine. You're gonna see the same exact pattern that we saw with Nerm. No Cash again knows exactly what's gonna happen under typical circumstances here, so we really just gotta get through it. Now, one of the signs you'll see from like a really great runner of this category versus someone who's kind of still learning the ropes is their actions during Zeromus. There's a lot of uncertainty when you're first learning this fight. It's scary. It's definitely scarier looking than it actually is. But I went through the same thing, and I'm sure everybody else did too, where you're just not quite sure what to expect, so you kind of sit and wait for Zeromus to do something so you can react to it. Whereas these runners here, they're going to be much more proactive in what they're doing. They know exactly when they can get away with a dart, when they should heal, and otherwise. So that exact example, you're going to sit with Kain, not because you don't know what you're doing, but because you know the nuke's coming, and you got to wait for the heal.
So yeah, you can see that No Cash's darts, because he's throwing Drain Spears, are around 4,400, where Nurm's were 46 because he was using Gungnir's instead. So it is, basically like, a couple hundred, 200 damage difference.
Yeah, 200 per throw may not seem like much. It can add up. It also kind of depends on how much damage Kain is throwing. You kind of just up your chances of skipping a phase if you have the Gungnir and good damage rolls, but it's by no means like a slower strat, like straight up by using the Drain Spear. There's just a lot that is going to depend on RNG at that point. Speaking of throw damage, though, for those that are curious, the people who enjoy throwing Excalibur, they enjoy throwing it because it throws for more than 4,600. It will throw for 8,000 on Zeromus here. So you can begin to understand why people like it, but it just seems like the time it takes to get is just a little too much.
Yeah, this fight, Nurm has a video up on YouTube with this fight with Excalibur strats, and it's just ridiculous. you kill him, it's incredibly fast. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of those things that's cool and would be awesome, but it is currently just too slow to pull off.
We got a Meteo for No Cash here, so that's pretty much GG to him. He will finish this fight shortly, and will finish just behind Nurm here in what turned out to be yet another amazing race between two FF4 runners. So congratulations to both runners. Congratulations.
Thank
Congrats.
you. Good job,
Should have also been
way to go, man.
sub 320, I think.
Yep, sub 320.
Yeah.
Good race, No Cash.
Good race, man. Way to pull it out. Way to kick some butt.
I kind of got lucky. I had grind fight on the way down. That's the first time I've had that in probably 25 runs. So
That's awesome.
Then I screwed it up.
I had this, same thing. It's so funny because we were so close all the way until the Bat Cave, and I had that big one. I know you had one too, but right after that, like, just things started slowly happening. Like the grind fight messed that one up. 4 Fiends fight messed that one up, and then everything else was pretty okay from there. So good. It was really fun. I think it's really entertaining. So way to. What was your time, by the way? Do you know?
3:15.
3:15, 17.
Nice.
Live split.
4 minutes, not too bad, but that was a great run. It was a lot of fun.
That was a good one. Very good back and forth throughout the whole entire thing.
Yeah,
sorry
that was
that you
definitely
got
a good race.
sorry you got bicked.
It's okay. You got a little taste
Well,
of it too. You just
You
spread
guys
the
will
love
have
today.
plenty of revenge in RPG Limit Break. I'm quite sure of it. So don't worry. It's all for a good cause.
Well, thanks everyone for the good game. It was a lot of fun. Good, awesome race. Thanks to Puexel for letting us do it on the RPG Limit Break channel. Thanks to Magus for hosting. Commentary was fantastic as always. And a personal side note, I want to say thanks everyone for watching. That helped me reach my goal to get me to Limit Break. So thank you everybody, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, big time shout outs for Magus for waking up at 4 in the morning to host this stream here. It's probably on his 15th cup of coffee already, but and shout outs to Roth for being here earlier, providing some great commentary, and Big Kata and Feral Pigman also with great commentary. You guys are awesome. And yeah, thanks also to Kata for setting up this whole tournament. I think it was an overwhelming success, and hopefully we get more people. All the 500 people out there, if you want to jump in a Final Fantasy IV tournament, now's the time. Any one of us is more than happy to help you out if you want to start learning the game. I know there's also, it seems like every week there's 2 or 3 people who are like, oh, I'm learning Final Fantasy IV, and it's yes, perfect, it's
Awesome.
great, it's amazing.
It's been almost impossible to keep up with, and that's a really good thing. Like, I'm happy to see people trying this game out.
Yeah, it's good to see how there is a good select, maybe a handful of us runners to now, multiple handfuls of runners and developments in the community. The community is really, really tight, I can tell you that, being a part of it from pretty early on. So like Nerm said, the more people that are willing to put time and effort into it, we're all willing to help everyone. And there's even 2 new runners that volunteered to be in this tournament, and they weren't afraid at all. They were really awesome to join in and have fun and put effort, and I'm sure that they learned a lot and are helping now, contributing to strats. So don't be afraid, jump out there, put your name out, and it's a great community to be a part of, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that thanks to some new discoveries by myself, 086, the any percent route has just become a lot faster. So if you want to jump on the any percent train, you can do that, and I think that's going to be the new hotness after RPG Limit breaks over. I think a lot of people are going to be transitioning to any percent just because that new route is there. So that's another option that people are interested in.
Yeah, it was really cool. Thanks to myself, 086, really good guy. Make sure you follow him as well.
It's definitely a game that just has surprised me, and I think everybody else, that just continues to grow. Like, the strats continue to get improved, and the times just keep getting better. Every time that we think nothing else can be done, something else is. It's been a game that gives us a lot of pain, for sure, but then has also been just really cool to play and keep improving. We would love to have more people.
There are very few days that go by where we're not all talking about what we can do better, or what we can do faster, or what we can try this, or what we can try that, and it's quite sad, really, but at the same time, it makes for a fun day every day.
Absolutely, that definitely plays tribute to the community, because we may not all agree on things sometimes, but it's all for the better of just having fun and then playing the game, which we all enjoy. So that's one reason why I think it's a really good community as well. We should do are we gonna raid somebody?